Welcome to our Rolemaster actual play session. Twilight of the Old Order is a campaign set in the world of Duranarki, the continent of men. In this gritty, cutthroat world, politics, religion, and commerce are all intertwined and reign supreme. Characters need to be both smart and ruthless to survive. We hope you enjoy our story, and, as always, may the dice roll in your favor. This is episode 140 of Twilight of the Old Order. Leaving their former companions and their adventures in the Katana Sea, the Twilight party travelled west to the Thracian colony of North Messenia in search of news of their foes, the Committee for the New Age. We pick up the story in the garrison town of Ras Garret, with Severin being implored by his mother, the former commander of a mercenary army, for help. Hello, I'm Chris, otherwise known as GM Chance, and welcome to our story. That story is Twilight of the Old Order. Up on screen are the 6 characters in play today. And in a minute or so's time, I'm going to hand over to the players of those characters to provide a bit more insight, a bit more information about who those characters are and what makes them tick. A little bit after that, I'll be asking the players of those characters to answer a question, which again is designed to provide a bit more information about the character and maybe a bit about their background or whatever. Some strange music coming through. What's that music? Oh, well, we'll stick with that. Before I do, my regular shout out, my regular thanks to our loyal, very friendly, and very helpful viewers. The channel is slowly growing, and we really appreciate your support. This is our hobby. We do this for fun. And we just really appreciate the comments, the suggestions that people make, and just the general encouragement. Please keep it coming. If you've come across us perhaps for the first time, or maybe you've watched 1 or 2 of these videos before and you're just kind of getting into us as a group of role players and the story, and you're enjoying it, we'd really encourage you firstly to either give it a like down below, or even better, a subscribe. It really does help this channel grow and help other people like yourself find us. Alright, no more further ado, handing over to the players to introduce their character. And I've done a reorder of the pre-recorded video, and I'm pretty sure it's Graham. I'm 90% sure it's Graham. So let's go with Graham. Take it away.
Hello, I'm Graham, and I play Severin Kaidergard, who is a human swordsman, a dab hand at the sword, spent his whole life training in swordsmanship. He is a very charming fellow and fancies himself as a bit of a leader.
Hi, I'm Stara. I play Jada. She's a 6'7" Arab-looking woman. She fights with a quarterstaff, but not often because she's a healer. She grew up in a monastery where they adopted her, and she has just been taught how to heal, do martial arts. That's all she's done her entire life.
Hello, I'm Graham, and I'm playing Tanya Anastasia, who is an elven hunter. Dab hand with a bow. She has some outdoor skills, some very adept sneaky skills, and is an interesting personality, a little bit spiky, a little bit difficult to know, but inside, a good egg.
Kia ora everyone, my name's Anthony, and for this episode I'm playing Ascallion, or Askel for short. He's a tall half-elf warrior mage who comes from the port city of Shabibi, and accordingly his favourite weapon is his ornate cutlass. As a warrior mage, Askel combines his offensive and defensive spells along with his prowess with his cutlass and in unarmed combat.
Kia ora, my name's Pete, and I'll be playing Nicholas in this episode. Nicholas is a common man and a mentad by profession. That means he is a spell user, and he uses spells from the mentalism realm. Nicholas is a quiet and sort of unassuming sort of fellow. He doesn't like to draw attention to himself.
Hello, my name's Giles, and I play Yotto, a grey elf in the 2nd century of his life. Yotto is a warrior mage by profession, meaning he combines the warrior skills learned from his mother, a great samurai in the East, with Western magic. Although life has sometimes been challenging for him, he still believes both in the world and people, and therefore travels light, very light, as he makes his way in the world and on his adventures.
There we go. Hopefully you are now better informed about those 6 faces up on screen. Now, as mentioned before we went to that short clip, I usually send out a few questions before we play. Slight change of pace today. I've actually asked the players to come up with some questions for each other, so that'll be interesting to see how that goes. But the idea of this is these questions, or this little session, or this little bit we do before we play, is just to help expand a bit more about the characters up on screen. These are characters that the players have created, and bit by bit, as each game ticks on, we find out a little bit more about each character. And starting us off tonight is the new guy. We're kicking it off, Yotto and Giles. Giles, take it away, please.
Thank you very much, DM. So the question I'm going to answer, Yotto's pretty new, is would you kill another member of the party for 20,000 gold pieces? Interesting the mind that would come up with a question like that. But the answer for that for Yotto is very easy and is definitely no. And no for 2 reasons. Our life is sacred, and so there needs to be a particularly good reason if one's going to think about taking it. And although not madly religious, Yotto is a follower of Dio, and one of the kind of core parts of those teachings or beliefs is about the giving up or abolishment of sort of desire, and certainly killing another person for money is obviously desirous. And so kind of religiously, philosophically, he would disagree with that as a motivation for behaviour. So that's a clear no.
Cool.
And on that note, I'll pass it over to you, Graham.
Thanks. I'll start with Severin. Why don't you believe in the gods? Well, he kind of nominally does. I mean, in the sense that he kind of acknowledges they exist. I mean, he's seen enough of this world to see that, and certainly heard enough from the hero party about this. But he had a little bit of residual sort of faith left over from his upbringing, which was Roldenic, but he wasn't that sort of devout at all. He kind of just would give a passing nod to it. But after being what he's been through, and for one, seeing the Badger Eaters and the Cheese and Biscuit crew, whatever they were called, fight it out in the streets over something pathetic, like 2 denominations of the same religion. He kind of just thought these people are a bunch of idiots. So he really, after seeing the Roldenic faith and the reality of its church, he's like, forget it. So whatever faith he had is gone. But probably more importantly, he's been through a lot of shit, and nominally he's fighting to save the old order and the gods really don't seem to be doing much about it either way. Even some of our extended crew have supposedly been sent by the gods, but their gods don't seem to be looking out for them either, and had their hands burnt off or knocked unconscious or killed several times over. So it strikes me, whether you believe in the gods or you don't believe in the gods, or you follow the gods, is neither here nor there. It doesn't really get you anywhere. and the gods can't even look after themselves, let alone anyone else. Sorry, Jada. Tanya. Meanwhile, I think it's been given a specific question to answer, which is, hang on, I probably want to read it, about elves and bows. Elves are renowned for their prowess with the bow. Stories and tales and rumours of our elves. The elves have the ability to become one with their bow and arrow, which helps with accuracy. Is there any truth to these tales? Well, certainly Tanya does feel that way sometimes when the going is good. She's certainly practiced enough. Elves are predisposed to be, as a race, are predisposed to be better at bow work than other races, and they receive, if we're talking game rules, they receive a slight bonus for that. Certainly, there many in a sort of traditional elven communities, they would grow up with the bow. Certain communities. Tenya actually wasn't a part of one of those communities. Nonetheless, at an early age, she was taken out by one of her father's people and taught to hunt and to track and certainly to shoot, and took to it very readily, and has therefore become quite adept with the bow. But for every ace shot of splitting the willow, there's a kind of fumble that you drop your arrow and spend 3 rounds clawing around in the dirt trying to find it. So depends on the day, doesn't it? I'm
never gonna hear the end of that fumble, am I?
My least favourite rule.
No.
Let's go to Stara.
Okay, I've got a picture,
Coming right up.
but while that's coming, I'll just answer the comet question, which is, what do you think this thing they call a comet actually is? It's clearly like divine wrath for all those people that don't believe in the god.
Obviously.
Okay, there's the picture. Yeah. Here's the picture. Okay, so Jada has skills in sling, which is a little clever old weapon, very popular in the olden days. She practiced on rats, as you can see there. And quite big where she was growing up was training falcons. So she would practice like hitting the rats, and the falcons would bring them to her. That's her doing it as a young girl.
Excellent. Excellent. Sling or slingshot? Because that's a slingshot.
Oh, slingshot. Oh my gosh, yeah. And the
That's
AI
alright.
kept putting bow and arrow for it so many times. I kept saying, okay, great picture without the bow and arrow, and it would just do another bow and arrow.
Got it.
That's as good as I could get it.
No, fair enough. No, AI sometimes, gets close, but not quite. Excellent. Thank you very much, Stara. Who would you like to hear from?
Eskel.
Oh, yes, indeed, because Pete's
Just
away.
me left.
Yes, that's right.
I'm going to have a crack at Giles' What is Worse Than Death? For Eskel, it involves his mistress, her getting into his head and her manipulating him and controlling him. For him, death would be a relief, as opposed to that yoke still on him. Yeah, that's Eskel.
Very nice and very sinister. Eskel's mistress. Excellent. Thank you very much indeed. And tonight, well, actually not tonight, today we're playing during daylight hours. It's very nice to play during the day rather than in the evenings. Pete, who usually plays Nicholas, is not with us tonight. We didn't actually decide, and Pete didn't nominate someone to play Nicholas. Maybe we just figure it out between us, and if
Chris,
needed.
Chris.
Yep.
I've got Nicholas's sheets.
Oh, you have? Oh, great. Okay, great.
But it would be, I'm definitely going to be open to advice from
Okay.
people who know Nicholas for longer than I have.
Fantastic. Well, that's great. Thanks, Charles. Sorry, I missed that if Pete had asked you to, or if you'd volunteered. Thank you. Excellent. Very good. So, gentle viewer and gentle listener, that's the team. Well introduced by the players. That is who is in play Today. I've got to stop saying tonight. Today. Pete usually provides a summary of what's happening in our game. But on this occasion, as mentioned, he's away. Graham, you're okay to step into the breach and walk us through it, please.
Sure. The reason I don't usually do this is that I don't do names, so I'll just leave blanks and you can edit them in.
Sure thing.
But I do remember that we appeared via a navigator column in the town of Ras Garret, which I believe is in Dransfield in northern Messenia.
Close.
No? Close?
It's in probably just actually if a little geography lesson because it might be helpful and definitely your characters would be aware of this. Yeah, do you mind? Sorry, I asked you to set off and then stopped you partway through. Shall
No.
I?
You go.
Oh, all right. So, bringing a map across. Whoops. Why isn't that map moving? There we go. Hopefully you can all see that now.
Yep.
Yep, cool. So you were in the Sea of Katana. You were in the miserable, filthy, horrendous swamp city of Landana. You went up the coast a little way up to a tiny little place called Osot. And yes, indeed, you took a jump from Osot all the way to Ras Garret. Ras Garret is actually in a Thracian colony called Northern Messenia. It is in relation to it is in relation to your character's understanding of the world. Yeah. So if the Kingdom of Thrace is this pink bit and its capital is here, Northern Messenia is here. It's around this area here. Severin, Jadar and company, you'd actually started in an area called the Agarth Sea over here, and then you took a banana boat all the way down to the Sea of Katana. You've now jumped back, and you're and you are apparently in this area here, further down, further south. And most of you being northerners, some from very far north. Yotto's not from the north, but most of you are northerners, although Askell and Jadar are from kind of here-ish. There's been this kind of bogeyman, nemesis, phantom kingdom that's kind of whispered, or not, definitely not kingdom, nation by the name of Turong, the fervent anti-monarchists, anti-religion, anti-slavery people, and to northerners, that's been kind of just a tale to scare princes and priests. But actually, now you find yourselves here, northern Messenia, and down in this colony, in Ras Garret. You're told the border of this phantom land called Turong is very close. It's literally only that far away. Dransfeld is an independent, or nominally independent kingdom, state, and it's right there. So you're close, but actually in a colony of Thrace. That makes a bit more sense. Sorry, Graham, I interjected. Geography lesson over.
Okay. So yes, we appeared here, and the reason we appeared here is that we are tracking an operative of the TPP who heads up a faction within the TPP who called Torvash Pipalis, and we are tracking him and hoping to stop him and learn more about what he's trying to do and hopefully stop him on his travails to bring about the end of the old order with potentially using some mysterious dust-like substance. We arrived in the town, and it's, as you can see, a sort of fairly small town with a sort of mix of 16th century wooden housing and a prominent fort up on the hill. People, a mix of race, but quite a few people who go by the name of Blueskins, who are the natives to this region. However, there are also a lot of other people from other nations here in this outpost, which is close to the border with Terang, including a sizable group of mercenaries called the Joyful Butchers, who we noticed upon arrival. We were greeted by a contact whose name is Cheryl. We'll call her Cheryl, and she took us took us through town and took us to our accommodation, her place, which is behind a pottery shop. We met her husband Barry, and they took us in, and we got comfy. Tried to find out something of where we were, and were fed well. Because we'd seen the Joyful Butchers, Severin immediately thought of his mother, who, until some months ago, he knows, last time he saw her, she was leading the Joyful Butchers in command of something like 10,000 mercenaries. So she was quite a bigwig. However, when we last saw her, we knew that she had fallen from grace, as she had lost quite a prominent battle that we were witness to, and had, through various rivalries and tussles, politics at the top, had fallen out of favour, and so we knew she was on a downward slide. So anyway, Severin was keen to try and make contact with her, so he went off with Askell and Nicholas, and he went to the place where the Joyful Butchers are billeted, and did indeed learn that she was in town, and she came out, but was really surprised to see Severin, but obviously didn't want to admit in public that she knew him, and so she play-acted an excuse to send him away as if he was someone trying to sell her weapons, but whispered that she wanted to meet him later that night. Julie, then, he went out again, this time with Tenya and Askell, who were both invisible, acting as cover, and he'd agreed to meet her at a fountain, with Tenya and Askell stalking, keeping an eye on things. She did indeed turn up. She is much reduced from who she was. She seems to have aged visibly, has obviously had a bit of a tough time. She took her off to a quiet pub, and which is where we are currently located, having a drink and finding out a little bit more about what's happened to her and her situation. Askell has followed them in and is having a pint at the bar. Tanya is still invisible outside with an arrow on a bowstring, just in case of trouble. I'm happy to go into the details of the conversation, or not.
Maybe let the conversation run its course, and then
Right.
go there. Perfect. Excellent. What are you saying you can't provide a recap, Graham? That was superb. Excellent.
I've got to remember where we've been, just can't remember the names.
Fair enough. Excellent. Any qualifying stuff? Anything to note? Nothing from me. But anybody else?
Your name was Maisie.
Her name was Maisie. Well done. Yep. Maisie, and Yoren was her husband.
Was it?
Yep. Very good. Well, yeah. If we're all ready, let's start the game. If it's okay, I am going to finish off that conversation in private in the tavern. Graham, can you join me in chat room 1, please? Won't be too long, guys. Hello.
Hello. Just to say, I will probably reiterate the conversation, so I'm not fussed if just to keep people in the game.
I'm quite keen just to stay because maybe other stuff. Oh, why am I getting an echo? Can you hear me all right?
Fine, yeah.
Okay, oh, it's just a strange echo there. All right, so yes, indeed, Severin, you are sitting in the spa. with your mother, Elka Blattlander, and yeah, you've just said to her. So there's another alternative. You could come with us, and she's just opened her mouth to respond. Before she does, do you say or do anything?
Yeah, I guess I'd like to back that up a bit. If that's, can I do that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. She was about to respond. She looked quite surprised, so you've used the time that she was surprised to say whatever you're about to say.
I would say that, Mother, I sympathise deeply with your situation. I can imagine how it must be to be swindled out of your rightful role, and how you must feel about that. However, are you on a hiding to nothing in terms of trying to fight your way back? And actually, I don't know, Mother, and possibly it is, but is it worth it? I mean, do you want that role back again? And the only reason I ask is because what I'm offering you here, and this is no exaggeration, I am sure would be the most significant thing any of us could do with our lives right now. There is literally nothing, and I may sound wide-eyed and raving, but there is scarcely anything quite as important, in my view, than what I and my compatriots are tasked with doing. It strikes me that you, with your renowned strategy and your renown in using a blade, would be a very grateful addition to our party in terms of trying to figure out how to conquer this great evil. And that actually, were we to be successful, well, it's not while we're into this, but our names would go down in history. I mean, it really is that big. In the scale of things, Mother, of course I will help you, but this need is great, and I can think of no one I'd rather have by my side than you in conquering it. Give it some thought, because the Joyful Butchers, you've done great things with those. You've built up a sizable and massive force, and it's an absolute accolade. But, what more do you want to do with them? What more is there to do? This is something different. This is something meaningful. This is the tale of heroes. This is a cause to get behind. This is literally to save the world as we know it, whether that be magic, kings, bishops, gods, armies, generals. The whole structure of our society is at stake. I know I sound mad. I know I sound like I'm raving, but it really is that serious. This is something that we can do, and go down in history as the people who stepped in to try and preserve what is good in this world. And I guess I implore you to give it some thought, and perhaps consider leaving behind what sounds to me like a rotten situation that is not making you any happier. It sounds like you're in great danger and could at any moment be bumped off. But to what end? Are the butchers worth saving? Are they actually worth the time and effort and risk to your life to try and crawl your way back? You've achieved already. You have built up this force from nothing. Is it time for something new? Is it time for something that could prove to be the sort of your crowning glory? I really believe that, Mother. But of course, I would want to help you however I can. I just feel there's a greater calling at work here, and I wonder if, and I'd be pleased to tell you more, but I wonder if you might consider it.
So, she was about to answer you, but looked quite surprised. You've said that, and her mouth is closed, and she's been looking at you, and she takes Severin's face in her hands, and a tear just rolls down her face. She doesn't say anything for quite a bit. She finally sighs and turns to Severin and says, "My son, my darling boy, my son. I've always been proud of you. But I think never more so with your words tonight. You are truly an honourable man, and I'm pleased to see that your father has taught you well. You're a good person, Severin. Will I join you? Whatever you're facing, it does sound utterly all-consuming. It sounds sinister. It certainly sounds like a noble cause, and I do value a noble cause. So I will help you. Will I join you? Yes, maybe. But not today. You asked me if the butchers... Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And firstly, are the butchers within reach? Why am I doing this, Severin? It's because they are mine. I built them from nothing. I started out with myself and a ragtag bunch of followers. And through my skill, through my tactics, through my knowledge, through my skills with negotiation, with negotiating how much to charge for our services, and for the various deals I have done, I have built them into a considerable fighting force. They are mine. They are my children as well, in a bizarre way. And I had them, and they have been stolen from me. And call it honor, call it stubbornness, call it stupidity, if you will. But I must get them back. I must, Severin. I must. And with this, she squeezes Severin's hand. She's strong. She's an older woman for sure, but my God, the strength in her sword arm. She's strong. Even a tough man like Severin winces under her grasp. Can I get them back? Yes, I think I can. I've lost a lot of respect, no doubt about it. I certainly have. And as I mentioned, that bastard Murloc, and with that she nearly spits his name, he has done an excellent job at weeding out my advocates, my champions, my supporters, but there are still some. And I think doing this action, heading out for the Farn Hills with my 500 men as I plan to, and critically with Camlard, one of my supporters, well, one of my former supporters that I think I can sway back. If I can show in front of Camlard that I can still do it, I can still lead, I still have the tactics, I still have the organizational skills, I think that will do it. Swinging Camlard, he in turn can swing others. And I think, should we return, and Murloc is no longer here, then yes, I think the butchers can be mine again, will be mine again. And again at this she turns to Severin, and with the butchers being mine again, Severin, I would like to help you with the butchers. What can I do with my 10,000 spears? How can I help you with my 10,000 spears? If I can, Severin, I will. And maybe that is at a point, maybe once I have won them back, maybe I do then hand over to Camlard or somebody else, and maybe I do pick up my broadsword and I do join you. But I need to do this first. I'll be away for at least 3 weeks. Perhaps even double that, depending on how long it takes to hold to firstly amass the men, put the scouts out, and then take and hold the outpost. It'll be bitter fighting for sure, but it's a relatively small outpost, and I think we'll win. We will outnumber them. We've done our work. Got some scouts coming back in the next day or so, and they should have more information. You have time. If you want to help me, you have time. You don't have to do anything right now. At least 3 weeks, if not more than that. I would be forever in your debt, Severin, and perhaps once the butchers are mine, as I say, perhaps the spears that I have at my command, will have again at my command, and she hits the table with this, could help you, or maybe directly I help you. This would mean so much to me. I know Murloc, and I know his ways, I know his daily routines, and I know there are some opportunities that you would perhaps take advantage of. So thank you. Whatever you're doing, it sounds clearly important. It sounds like something I want to support, be it with the butchers or be it by my own. But now is not the time. I must win them back, Severin. You must understand that. She falls silent.
Severin would say, I do understand. I understand very well. As someone who has ambitions one day to take up a company of men myself, I understand well, and I understand your will to regain what is yours and to seek retribution. Tell me a little about this man, Murloc, because you must know, Mother, I'm not an assassin, so for me personally to undertake this, it will be a case of fighting him in combat. Who am I dealing with?
I'll tell you a few things quickly, Severin, and then my presence will be missed if I stay much longer, so I'll make it quick. I'd like to think we might speak one more time, perhaps, before I go. If I don't, however, I'll tell you enough now. Murloc. He is... was my friend. I thought my good friend. I fought with him in many, many battles. He is a Thracian originally. He wields in battle. He wields a giant mace, which he wields two-handed. He is a formidable warrior himself, wearing metal armor. Older than you, younger than me, perhaps in his 40s or 50s. A big man, for sure, and can certainly take a hit. He favors, in combat at least, he favors that giant two-headed mace. I've seen him literally take people's heads off with that mace. He's also not shy at using a spear or a sword and shield. A reasonable shot with a bow, but certainly it's that formidable two-handed mace that he favors. He's intelligent. He can be quite charming. You've met him, of course. So you may not recall him, but you have met him. And he and you can see her teeth being gritted. He does know how to lead. The men love him. He does have their loyalty. He's lied and he's cheated and he's stolen, but he has won their loyalty. A little more about him, and then I really must depart. Maybe this will be enough to help you if I don't see you. He does review his troops on Queen's Day. He likes to take a ride around the area with only a couple of guards. So he visits for the North Camp and then the South Camp, and then he will often take him and his bodyguards out on rides. He occasionally heads up to outside the walls to the midnight markets, the red light district. A brothel called Gideon's Folly is his favourite. There's a red-headed girl there called Sasha that's taken his eye. He's also, oddly enough, a religious man, or at least claims to be, and he goes to the Roldenic Church on Queen's Day, typically after the rides that he does out in the area after reviewing the camps to seek Rolden's favour. Again, only one or two bodyguards go with him. And he sleeps on the third story of the building that you met me in front of today. What I'd say to you, Severin, is, and I'm not asking for your assistance lightly, and I'm asking for your assistance is because people don't know you, or those. That's why I was keen for people not to see us together today. It's unlikely that people will remember you from 5 months ago. Many of the butchers have changed, and most of the people that are with us now were on different assignments back then. So the people, there are a few that were around up in Wayward beneath the arch when we last saw each other 5 months back, but most relatively won't be known to you. So I'm asking for your assistance because you're unknown. And really you can't be traced directly to me. You have time. You don't need to act immediately. You have at least 3 weeks if you do decide to do something. And look, if I return in 3 or perhaps 6 weeks' time, and Murloc is still here, I understand, Severin. And again, she takes Severin's face in her hands and she says, I understand. You need to do what's right for you, and it sounds like whatever you have in front of you is significant. And if my request jeopardizes what you have to do, she kind of swallows and another tear rolls down her face. I do understand, Severin, if you choose not to help, and I do understand. But think on it, my boy, think on it. I must return now. Best if I go first. Do you have any last questions before I go, or anything last to say?
On Queen's Day, he takes 2 bodyguards, he goes to North Camp, then to South Camp, then he goes outside the walls to a red light district called...
No. On Queen's Day, he will go outside the walls to the North Camp, and then the South Camp, and we'll go for a ride around the area, typically for an hour or so. Later on Queen's Day, he will go to the main Rodianic church in town. Sometimes, depends which night, sometimes he goes again outside the walls on an evening up to Gideon's Folly, to the midnight markets, kind of random, generally once every couple of weeks. And he'll sometimes go by himself, sometimes take some bodyguards with him. And as mentioned, he sleeps in the same building that you met me in front of today.
And so when he meets this red-haired girl called Sasha, he stays out. Does he stay overnight?
No, he comes back.
Okay. And that red light district was called?
It's called the Midnight Markets. And the brothel in question is called Gideon's Folly.
Okay. Well, I will do everything I can. In terms of, does he follow a set route when he goes to North Camp, then South Camp?
No. And sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes he goes north to south, hence.
So can you think of any particular... You have better knowledge of this surrounding country than I do. I've just arrived. Can you think of a suitable point in which to ambush a place that he would have to pass through that is not far from this other settlements that he would have to pass through on Queen's Day to go either to the south, the North Camp, or between here and there, that he would most likely pass through, be it a kind of a canyon, a road with hills. I'm sure your brain works in a similar way to mine, Mother. A suitable place to ambush.
It's a very fair question, Severin. The North Camp and the South Camp are reasonably flat terrain, and they're within, a 15 to 20 minute short canter away from each other. Terrain around here does get quite hilly, quite fast. There could be a number of possible options of where he could ride, but his riding doesn't form any kind of pattern that I'm aware of. I don't know, I've never been with him.
So there's no road as such between here and the camps?
No.
Okay.
Look, I can sketch... No, I won't sketch it out for you, but with a bit of time here, you'll get to know the layout pretty easily. It's not a big place.
Yeah, no, okay. I think I'll need to do a bit of homework in terms of scoping out the area. I do remember him, and I do recognise him. I will recognise him. If he's armoured, however, is there anything distinctive about his armour?
It's well made.
It also
Functional.
carries the logo of carries the standard
Yes.
of
Yeah.
butchers.
Of course.
Is there anything distinctive about his look? Horse?
Yes, he rides a large black stallion. I really must leave, Severin. Any last questions?
You're a natural fighter. You study how people fight. What's his weakness? If you were going to fight him, how would you do so?
Yeah.
What would you concentrate on?
Yes. So, be warned. He will often feign weakness and often parry a lot at the start, and often 2 or 3 very meek blows, and then will wind himself up for one massive shot. So kind of almost lull you into a false sense of security for one utterly overpowering shot. So quite weak taps where he holds quite a lot back, and then his 3rd or 4th blow will aim to be the killer blow. A couple to kind of feel you out, and then the next blow, 3rd or 4th blow, will be the one that he'll be trying to end you with. Test you first, and then try to end you.
Would in terms of his experience, his capabilities, how would you rate him?
He's good.
Not as good as you, though, Mother.
No, not as good as me. She smiles.
Well, I have had a good teacher, so let's see how I go.
Thank you, Severin. Think on it, and as I say, if you decide can't help me, I do understand. No need to rush. You don't need to do this within the next week. You have time.
Very good. Well, let me look into it, and if I can help, I will help.
Thank you, my son. If I don't see you before I go, thank you, 1,000 thank yous. And
How will you contact me?
Where are you staying?
I'll give the location.
Okay. I'll get a message to you if I need to. I think this should be sufficient information, but if there's anything urgent before I go, I'll let you know.
If the people who are staying with can be trusted. If you came and say meet in the White Feather, I'll know to come back here to meet you.
Understood.
So yeah, just give her time and I'll be there.
Okay. She gets up. She squeezes your hand one last time, looks right into Severin's face, gives you a brave smile, and then turns on her heel and leaves.
I'll squeeze back.
Cool. What does Severin do?
I think he'll wait a while until she's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Then he'll join Askell at the bar.
Let's go.
Okay, see you back there.
That's something should go to called Free RPG Day.
Give it a punt, yeah.
Askell, you are sitting at the bar. You see they talk for however long that was, about 15 minutes, 10, 12 minutes. Then the woman that you have been told is Severin's mother gets up. She turns back to the table. She reaches down and you're just quietly keeping an eye on things. She squeezes Severin's hand, and then she turns and quite swiftly walks out. Severin sits at the table for a few moments by himself, and then gets up and comes to join you at the bar.
All right. Yeah, I think Askell, is he nursing his hind to
Mine's
tail?
mild. Thanks, Askell. Thanks. Cheers.
And just do they need a drink, Sev?
I think I do. I'm just going to go and go outside, and you never know. Well, actually, it might be better to leave our friend guarding. She's not one for ale anyway. You never know who'll be scouting around. Yeah. I think probably a quick one, and then back to. Got a bit of a proposition, an interesting turn of events that we need to discuss as a group.
All right. Quick pint or just boost?
Quick pint, I think.
Bartender.
Cool. God, actually, all of a sudden the GM's just got thirsty. I could really do pint.
11 for our international.
You can see me professionally next week, Chris. It's all right.
There we go. Bartender, a pint. He comes over, and a couple more frothy ales are poured. 1, 2.
Okay. Well, we'll have a bit of a sup, and then if that's all right with you, Askell, should we head back? I'm quite keen to unload.
Yep.
Cool.
Definitely.
You make your way back. You arrive back in pretty short order. You are definitely getting a reasonable sense of this town. It really isn't big, and even within the short few hours that you've been here, you've got a bit of a sense. You come back into the streets that you're now reasonably familiar with. You come back into the shop with the little stall outside, which is obviously empty of pottery. You've got your own key. You let yourselves in. No sign of your host, Maisie, or her husband, Joran. You head upstairs and you're reacquainted with all of your companions. And you're away from the tavern.
Right. Well, I think Severin will just call people round, employ quite close quarters, and would speak in a very low voice. Just explain the situation in that his mother has been ousted from her former position as head of the Joyful Butchers. The Joyful Butchers number many thousands of armed men. They're mercenaries. However, she's been forced out by a guy who a few of us have seen and met called M.E.R.P. And perhaps Tanya and Jada and others may go, oh yeah, I remember. He is an ex-friend of my mother's, but after a defeat at the Battle of...
Waywald Beneath the Wall.
Exactly. She was outmaneuvered by him, and her allies within were successfully neutralized or taken out by M.E.R.P., who established himself as replacing her as head of the mercenary band. She remained within the organization, but has obviously lost favor, and many of the number lack confidence in her because she has fallen from grace, but she still has a number of supporters within the group. I guess the proposition is this. Severin also didn't give the specifics of what we're about, but said something of the gravity of it in terms of its importance. She expressed an interest in helping however she could. Clearly, we might benefit from having 10,000 mercenaries on our side at some point in this story. So it's an interesting proposition. Obviously, however, she's asking two things, really. She's asking for Severin's help in winning her band. In return, she would, once she's back as head of that band, she would do everything in her power to assist Severin, whether that's personally or if she can with the group itself. So I guess that's our motive. Well, that's possibly your motivation rather than Severin's, in terms of we could get our own cavalry to fly in at the 11th hour at some point, possibly. But basically, she wants Severin's help in taking this guy Murloc out. He is a Thracian. He wields a giant mace, two-handed. He's a very able warrior. He wears plate. He's in his 40s. He's smart, charming, and natural leader. We should recognise, or we will recognise him, if not because we've seen him, then because he rides a large black stallion. He reviews the troops on Queen's Day and takes 2 bodyguards with him. Queen's Day is a day of the week, right, Chris?
Yes, it is. Yep.
And he doesn't take necessarily the same route, which is somewhat annoying, but he takes 2 bodyguards and goes off to North Camp, which is outside the city walls, and to South Camp, all the other way around. And they're about 20 minutes from each other on a horse's canter, and will then typically ride around the area for about an hour. Then he will come back to town and go to a Rolemaster church in town, and then we'll typically go back to his quarters. He sleeps in the 3rd story of the building that we met Elka in when we went out, to where their barracks are. Sometimes in the evening he will go outside the walls, on other days to the red light district, which is called the midnight markets, and there he meets a girl called Sasha, a red-headed girl, at Gideon's Folly, which is a brothel. That much we know. And my mother may be in touch before she leaves, but very soon she's going to be going away for 3 weeks. And she's going to be going on a mission which, if she's successful, will win her great favour within the organisation. Were Moloch to disappear during that time, she's confident that she will be able to regain control of the Joyful Butchers. Obviously, I have my own personal reasons for wanting to do this, and they're not yours. Obviously, we have tasks of our own to complete. So I put it to you, what do we do? What do we do next? From my side of things, clearly, I want to help my mother. And for less personal reasons, we could gain ourselves a substantial backing, i.e. a force that will actually come to our aid, potentially, if we need it. My mother is not only a very capable war leader, she's also a warrior of some renown, and she may look much reduced in her older age, but believe me, she's strong, and there is few who can equal her with a blade, myself included. So I put it to you, what do we do? Do we do this? I'm no assassin, but I will take this man on in combat. But there are 2 bodyguards who would need to be neutralised. What say you?
Oh, sounds good. Army of 10,000 fighters. We need that.
I think Yotto would check. The assassination of 1 man for the return of 10,000 mercenaries.
1 man will enable my mother to take back control of the Joyful Butchers, who, if we needed them, she could command them. So we're going off to middle of some icy waste at some point, or wherever we're going, to these places that the other group have visions about. We know we're destined to go to these places. We know we're destined to go into Torang. And we will be going in alone because we can't really count on our Mon men people. I mean, they've given us some means to move around, but frankly, we're the E team as far as they're concerned. They've not.
Are we sure that if...
Go on. Go on.
Sorry. Are we sure that if we kill that 1 man, we're not making 10,000 enemies? That they'll definitely be on your mum's side?
Well, we definitely, we could make it could all go tits up for certain. I only have my mother's word that she thinks she's able to take these back. We would be lopping off the head of an organisation, however, in which she has, so that would, it is a lot of ifs. clearly she would need to be successful in the endeavour that she has gone off to do. She needs a big victory there to ride back in glory, and then that will put her in a good position to therefore replace Murloc and reinstate her as the head of the organisation. There's no guarantee that will happen. So no, I mean it's nothing certain. It's just there's an opportunity here for us to gain some serious muscle and serious backing, and if there are other armies moving around, well, at least we would have our own.
I think Yotto would apologise for asking the question, but would ask Severin if he trusts his mother completely.
Oh yeah, no
in
question.
which case we should do this. If mother asks, we should do this. We should do this because your mother asked, not because there's something coming back for us.
Well, I would agree with you since it's my mother, but I won't pull the wool over any of your eyes. You know, this is the situation as it is, and I have my motivations, but they don't have to be yours.
And I think Yotto would share that his mother was murdered by Torvash Papillus, he thinks, and anything which your family asks for should be provided. So he'd support you completely.
In truth,
honor your ancestors.
That's good. In truth, I think my mother, if she's unsuccessful, I think she will be murdered herself. It sounds very much like she is. Other of her allies have been bumped off, or conveniently gone missing. So it sounds very much like she would be next. For her, it's do or die. So yeah, obviously I have my motivations, but thank you for your support, both of you.
Askell would, after listening to all the discussion, and he would just say, quite simply, I miss my mother. I love my mother. She is a stark contrast in my memories to what my mistress is. And I'd happily help your mother too, Severin. And from a resource perspective, I think more allies and troops is highly beneficial for our quest. So Askell would be nodding. I'm in.
Well, glad's my heart. Thank you.
What does Tanya say?
Tanya hasn't said anything. I guess she's pondering it over. She's thinking about her own family, and she's thinking about actually how the party have helped her, and and how her contacts and how they've weighed in to try and help her family friends, and is mulling it over. She's then thinking of having 10,000 blades at her back, which she thinks was possibly quite an advantage, and says, yeah, I think we can do this. Three individuals. We just need to find them in the right place at the right time and set up an ambush.
And so I think you... Oh, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that's weird. It says I'm still on mute. But I think Yotto would suggest if we know this gentleman likes visiting whores, most opportune moment would be to strike then, surely. And would suggest maybe it might be time to visit a whorehouse.
Potentially. The only thing is, I absolutely agree. The only thing is there will be people around. So where we, well, I mean, it is actually it would be in a settlement. So there would be witnesses, unless we are thinking about an assassination of sorts, in which is not really my style. Then yeah,
That is not going to be a honey trap. That's your line.
Yotto's quite comfortable putting a knife in this gentleman's back for the clear purpose of assisting in the death of Torvash Papillus. Although totally respect that might not be for everybody. And notes that no matter where we take him on, there will be people and witnesses. We will not get away with this unseen. Unless possibly we hide under a bed.
We'll make it look like an accident.
Yeah. So another option, another thought, and this is probably our strategizing how we will get him is his room, 3rd floor, being done something similar, is Cover of Night, Fly Spell, Up is another way to access. We'd definitely have to do a bit of recce for, plan it, scope everything out. All these paths, and maybe that's what we need. We need to do some following to see when he's moving between the north and south camp. Is there any sort of rocky outcrops we could be hiding above or behind? Of course, they'd probably be on guard. They'll be fully armoured up. He's going to be less armoured up if he's in his room, attempting to sleep. Or the brothel will be less armoured, so easier to slip a knife and then taking on 3 heavily armed. And he's bound to be very skillful Purs. So maybe it's just working through those options.
So I think Yotto would also kind of notice that when Severin left with his 2 companions, somehow they were made invisible. And if he was able to be made invisible, he'd be happy to sit in a whorehouse. And he has a spell which will burn people. And he could potentially try to burn him.
Well, Jada's got a facade spell, so she can make a limited illusion that helps her look like any humanoid figure within 20% of her own size. So maybe I can be a honey trap.
Could you be?
That's
find
fantastic.
out who Sasha is, and then copy that illusion.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then we just need to kidnap her, do the swipsy-swapsy.
We don't even need to kidnap her, do we?
Don't need to do
Just
that. I think
get her to go somewhere else.
clearly the most risky would be the 3rd floor apartment, because we're actually breaking into a barracks. Not only with that, I mean, these are no fools, right? This is a large mercenary organisation, so not only would there be tons of soldiers, it might be magically protected. There could be magical protection on it, and we would need an assassin to do that. Really, someone a little bit like Neathanel.
Does this chap have magical powers?
Sorry?
Do we know if this chap has magical powers? Do we need to be worried about magical defense?
No, he's a hell of a warrior, though. I do have a little bit of information about that, in terms that his fighting style when against opponent is to feign weakness and parry very heavily to begin with. Tends to hold back, get the measure of someone, and then wind up to just take them out on a 3rd or 4th blow. And I don't really know.
No matter how skilled he is as a fighter, he won't be skillful when he's naked.
No. If we were lucky enough to get him there, yeah. One to consider. Yeah, so I mean, I suppose the choice is, in my view, facing him out in the open, where the disadvantage is we'd have, if we'd be in a combat situation where he'd be fully armed. Advantage is that we could set up an ambush. If we could, we'd have to get lucky with the route he takes. But if we, as a first stage, mapped out where all these places were and looked at how you get between them, then we might identify something interesting. So we would have surprise. We would have the luxury of time and not be observed, so that we could do the deed and then make them disappear, and that would be that. So that would be the advantage there. Disadvantage, we'd have to actually face them in combat and risk that. We could do an assassination. But that would obviously be in a built-up place with a lot of people around. Probably not the full band of people. Probably one person, maybe one in backup. Needs a lot of good rolls. GM isn't going to make it easy for us. He'll probably have bells tied to him or something.
Speaking of bells, what's that thing, Jada? She's got the bell of shining.
Yep, that's handy too.
Thinking about tools we might have to incapacitate.
She's also got this medallion of heavy metal. You put it on something that weighs 100 times, which could be handy to just slip something onto his weapon when he puts it down. Can't pick it up again.
Yeah, for sure.
Things like that.
Metallica? ACDC? What are we going to put on?
It's a medallion of heavy metal. So you just,
Right.
I think it's a necklace. So you just take it off, put it on something, and it will make it weigh so much that they can't pick it up.
We could
it's
literally
kind of-
make him
kind of a handy
thunderstruck.
weapon.
Bit of Slayer is probably more appropriate.
Yeah, quite handy because it's
I've not used it yet, actually. Yeah.
yeah.
This is all good stuff,
Noise,
right?
you can flip it on secretly.
I suggest as a first task, though, we just get our geography down and actually
Yeah.
find out where all these places are. Like, what does the midnight markets look like? You know, how difficult will it be to sneak into somewhere like that?
Mm.
Versus
So we probably want to
straight up combat.
spend a couple of days, or just doing all that research, finding out the best vantage points. Working out which is, as you said, Graham, high risk is that obviously attacking the barracks, so we can maybe discount that one early. The lay of the land for ambushes, brothel. Maybe someone should go and meet Sasha, or as in,
That's good of you. That's cool.
yeah, just throwing that out there. Like, Askell will take one for the team. And then, what would Pete think to do?
I think we could ask. We probably will ask Pete for his feedback, and
Nicholas,
but I think some intel will be good. Some preparation. I mean, obviously, Tanya's pretty quiet. If she were invisible too, she's got. I mean, and there's always a bad roll, right? But she has got. In terms of her ability to move silently, she's pretty adept. In terms of stalk and hiding, is like plus 134.
yeah,
So she can move pretty quickly. She does also have this thing called a dagger of assassination, which she's never used. Which is the one that Niathal had a look at. It's plus 30.
Wow.
She also has an assassination skill, which would add plus 5 to
ambush skill. You mean
ambush skill, which would add plus 5 to any critical. That was not quite as good as Niathal, but is a potential. So in terms of an assassination attempt, that's possible. She'd probably just need if we were to attempt that, she'd probably need a means to get the hell out of there if it all went a bit wrong, I suppose.
We should probably consider. So we've been there a day and a bit, so we should probably be cautious about our presence, our visibility. So say Tanya's going to be the prime person. We should probably keep her well shrouded, so she's not if it goes a little bit pear-shaped and they're looking for people.
Yes.
Yeah, Askell's having to have a haircut, shave his beard off, and look different.
Obviously, it's good that Jada can look slightly changed too. That's quite useful to know. Change her height, which would be really good. In fact, you might want to do that anyway, Jada, every day, right? Because you're standing out so much.
True.
The other consideration is what I who has a poison skill?
No.
One of us does, doesn't it? I can't remember who it is. It's not Tanya, is it? I don't think so. Or is it?
Poison use? Yeah, so Nicholas has a poison use skill of 48. It's pretty good. And
Well,
we've got some poison with us, haven't we?
Well, that's what I was
Yeah,
just
we do.
looking to check. Can someone got the sheet open?
Well, not only do we have the poisons we got just very recently, but also we have these weird balls, don't we, that we don't know what they do?
Oh, we know what they do. You throw them and they explode. They're like grenades.
well,
Nicholas has poison.
there's not so much grenades, but they because there's no gunpowder in this world, but there's they hit the ground and purple dust goes everywhere, and it seems to knock people out.
Ah,
Almost like the thing a devil might make. But so we could purple dust him and then Anders two, soldier guards and knock them all off then.
Yep,
So
that's
that would be another.
that would be our kind of ambush option for sure.
Yep.
Nicholas has a ton of poisons.
Yeah, so we might want to look at maybe that's a question for Nicholas in terms of whether that's something we consider too as a backup. In terms of lacing a blade with poison.
So I have Nicholas' character sheet and his spells, but I don't have any. I don't know where his poisons are or how to use them, unfortunately. But
Oh,
yes,
they're on the XP sheet.
I'm looking at the wrong document. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, actually, he's got a lot of poison antidotes. He has one poison, lizard poison.
Oh
it
yeah,
do?
that was the purple lizards. It's pretty. We don't know quite how it works. I don't think, but yeah, it's pretty nasty. But we did pick up some other poisons, did we not?
Oh, we did. They're not quite on the list yet.
We absolutely did. Yeah.
They are in. Oh, yeah, they're in party items on that channel. Yeah, Jada picked up poisons. Not sure what they are.
Well, we know what some of them are. I've got it written down somewhere.
Oh, cool.
Somebody's got it written down somewhere anyway.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll have to have a look. Anyway, some options, right? Probably one option of outside ambush, grenades, get stuck in, versus sneaky attack, which would be more down to an individual, probably. But anyway, I think it'd be worth doing some recce's, right?
Yeah. Just wondering that just follow that normal sort of route between the north and south camp. That's probably a good one for Tanya to go all the lay of the land and what have you, and probably what they're wearing. We know he's wearing plate. What about his guards? Obviously divide and conquer. If we can,
They'll obviously they'll be tooled up clearly.
Yeah. Any sort of, as we'd call it, the kill box area.
Well, it'll be
you can hit hard and fast and disorientate, and then ideally hit from above.
Anyway, maybe one for the morning, but perhaps we could inquire from our hosts about maps, where we might get them, and then maybe we'd start doing some go and explore some of these areas, but in disguise.
Can I just check what time is it?
It's late. It would be 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock in the evening.
So it's 9 o'clock. Do we have any idea if he normally visits the brothel in the evenings, in the mornings? Is there a time he normally frequents, according to your mum?
I mean, and there's she didn't. When he feels like it. So yeah, that would be the other issue. Is actually to be a critical. Yeah, it would be probably quite a significant stakeout. We have 3 weeks.
Minimum 3. Sorry, just to reiterate, minimum 3.
Well, there's no time like the present. The midnight's a good time to sleep for me. I'm happy to wander down and hang out outside.
So, taking a few steps forward, say we accomplish what we needed to. It's either the ambush or the brothel, for example. What are we going to do about cleaning up the mess, so to speak? What's our plan for there? Is it
take the body somewhere?
Yeah.
They'll be on horse, and we won't. So we'll need to think about that, like the one riding off and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Does your mother want us to take the body away? I mean, it makes a statement if the body is left. I mean, what's going to aid her in Returning to her position at with the heavy bunches.
I mean, we could, yeah, or we can always. I think we hide the body, and if it needs to appear, it appears, kind of thing, you know.
Do we know if there's any, not natural, but enemies of Murloc and these dollar butchers that we could sort of frame, so to speak? Like, well, it's the Blue Men, or just someone else, so we could either acquire some of their outfits or leave something that might allude to it's another group that may have perpetrated this act to take the heat away from us.
I'm sure we could, you know, shove a blue skin spear into the carcass, or, you know.
Yeah, just to shift that motivation.
That's a really good thought. Yep.
Same as at the brothel. Just distract from. There's 6 randos that have just turned up in town, and then someone dies, and then not being a big town as well. We create as much deception as we can.
And is his house made out of wood? Or are the barracks made out of stone?
And another one made out of straw.
The building that the people saw Elka come out of yesterday was a large 3-story stone building. Pretty solid municipal. It's like an official building of some kind or other.
I can burn wood, I can't burn stone. Sorry, that's not going to work.
All right. Anything else for the remainder of that evening? After your teleportation in earlier that morning, a bit knackered, some of you. Teleporting seems to take it out of people.
Yeah, Askell probably would have got and was it Tanya? We probably want to eat to put back in what came out.
Oh, you did. You had your hostess served you quite a delicious meal over dinner.
Yeah, I think rest, contemplation.
Okay. All right. Any other? Well, that's Askell. Anybody else doing anything that evening?
No.
Jada, who his handlers had to head off. But Jada would probably want to equally meditate and get herself into some usual Jada-ness thought processes.
Okay,
She
cool.
rests.
I think Nicholas will finish studying and then would probably go to bed.
Yep.
I think Yotto would ask Severin if he knows where the brothel is, and if he does, he might slip out. He's got a key to get back in. Presuming it's inside the town and inside the city walls.
No.
It won't be locked out. It's outside the town, isn't it?
Yeah, and I don't know where it is. That's what I mean. I think it might be worth. That's what I'm thinking. Asking our hosts whether there's any
Where's
maps.
the brothel?
Not whether, if there's any maps of the area that we could have, or get where we would find a map. Go in disguise to acquire a map, or map it ourselves in terms of just going out there and.
You'd be surprised who visits the brothel. Maybe they both go. But yeah, Yotto would go to bed.
Okay. Unless anybody else is doing anything, you have a relaxed and peaceful evening in the quite cozy, clean, tidy, nothing particularly flash, but quite comfortable accommodation that you're in. Next morning, you wake. Bit of a breeze today, but again, ooh, that's probably a little bit strong. There we go. A little bit breezy, but not too bad. But again, pleasant day in Ras Garret. The sun is shining. Blacksmith is out doing his work. Someone's chopping wood. It's the sun is shining through the window. The first thing is, Nicholas, you think you were trying to attune to a particular item. I think it was the ring. That you'd figured out what it was. No, not the ring. The sword. But you but you couldn't use it. Today you can. You can have another go if you want to attune to it.
Nicholas will. Sorry, I'm going to need. I can't recall exactly what the sword is.
I'm trying to. So we figured out what the ring was and how to use the ring. So yes, it was the cutlass. Sorry, the scimitar. So he had learnt what it was, but he hasn't. But he hasn't learnt how to use it. But he needed a bit of time. It's for scimitar.
So, can you remind me what is it, Chris?
Yeah, it's when outside the cave.
Yep.
The guy that was flying and sending out lightning bolts was slain, and Etienne very intelligently picked up both the ring off his finger and picked up a scimitar that looks like this. Just a second, it's going to take me a moment or so to find it.
Okay, and this scimitar is presumably magical and therefore requires attunement if Nicholas or anyone else is going to use it.
Correct. And
And
Nicholas had figured out what it did, but hadn't quite figured out how to. He nearly figured out how to use it.
So what does it do?
Yeah, just a second. That's what it looks like. Quite a nice scimitar. And what it does is as follows. Just coming. Will do if I can find it. Coming. Too many notes for the GM. Here we go. Just thinking I'll probably put it into Nicholas's channel. Just give me one sec.
No, I can't access Nicholas's channel.
I know you can't.
Oh, look, never mind. I do think it's worth doing, but he's going to have another go at tuning it, clearly.
Yeah, give me a go, please. I don't think maybe he didn't learn what it does. So, I'm just looking at his channel, and I don't think I put it in. So, no, he doesn't know what it is, but he can attempt to give it another go now. Give me a go, please. A master.
D100?
Always, yep.
83. Can we have it unmasked? Because he rolled 83.
83. And... Okay, and what's his skill, please?
So, Nicholas's attunement skill is 54.
Plus 54, cool. Alright. And... doesn't know what it is. Yeah. It's coming. No further ideas, unfortunately, Nicholas. Yeah, and it's going to be quite some time until he can try it again, unfortunately. No, drawing a complete blank on it.
Graham, can I ask, would Nicholas be the kind of guy who'd let other people have a crack, or would he not? I don't really know.
Yeah, no, get the job done.
Everybody else tried it, and they got the same result, if I remember rightly.
Well, Yotto hasn't tried it, has he?
No, he hasn't, apart from Yotto.
And so, I think what Yotto would say to the party is his training, obviously, is in Eastern swordplay, which is often with two... This is a single-handed sword, Chris?
Single-handed sword, yes.
Yeah, two swords, so he'd be happy to have a crack at attuning it. But then he's attuned it to himself, hasn't he?
Well, he's... Firstly, to figure out what it is, And yes, he's attuned it to himself, but he can then teach other people how to use it.
Oh, okay, fine. Yep. So he'd offer to have a go if that's what the party think would be helpful.
Okay. So remember, with attuning, you get -20 for less than an hour of attempting to attune, +0 for 1 to 4 hours of attuning, +5 for more than 4 hours to attune.
Yeah, well, I guess he'll go for more than 4 hours. We don't have plans.
Okay. Give me a roll, please. And this is Master.
59,
9 could be amazing.
45.
9. Okay. And
45. So he's 100 and whatever it is. 4.
yeah, but it's Master, mate.
Oh, I know. It's just the number.
9 plus 45. Cool. Right. And not that. Doesn't know what it does, so he doesn't get that. And you do get a +5 because you spend a bit more time. Yeah. So Yotto, you spent some time, at least 4 hours, kind of looking over this weapon. It's quite a beautiful sword. But no, you completely draw a blank as well. You don't know what it is. You don't know what it does. And I'm afraid it'll be quite some time, a long time, like until you go up a level kind of time, until you can try again.
Okay. You.
And
Actions.
sorry,
yeah.
just one other thing. Jada, you offered to perhaps use of a couple of items that you've got, which I think you are attuned to, which is the Bell of Stunning Chimes and the Heavy Metal medallion, which God only knows what that looks like. Would you be prepared to try and train Tenya in their use?
Oh yeah.
Because if for instance we did go for the stealth mission, I can see they would both potentially be quite handy. But obviously she would need to attune to them. She doesn't have any relevant skill, however, so it would be kind of up to you to sort of teach her and then I suggest spending the maximum amount of time explaining it, and then her having a crack to see if she can get it.
Yeah, definitely. I think Jada would be very, very forthcoming with helping with that.
So the way
in the next few days.
Yeah. Okay. So the way it works is, Jada would be able to provide +75 to teach someone how to use an item. It takes 1d8 hours to do. There would still be the negatives that Tanya would get of -25 of not having the skill, offset by her stats. And then a negative if the realm is different from the casters, and some other modifications. But yes, you could do that. You can start the process now, and then roll later in the day, perhaps.
Yeah.
Jada is, yeah. Cool.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Jada is.
Before breakfast, you start that. And then what's your immediate plan for this once you wake up? Other than firstly trying to attune to the swords, failed. Yotto tried for the swords, didn't work. And then you've had that discussion around the medallions, etc. What are you doing now?
Well, keen to ask our hosts, just to explain that you are looking for a location outside of town, but really keen to get a feel for the geography of where we are and to map where the town is, and because we're going to be moving around the country a little bit looking for this location that we spoke about. And wondering, are there any such things as mapping of this area that you know of? Is there a library? Is there anyone we could speak to about plotting these points and anything of detail about the local landscape that anywhere we could ask?
Well, you're having this conversation downstairs with Maisie in the quite cozy little kitchen. large enough table, however, to seat you all. She's actually cooked up a delicious meal of porridge with some fruit and some berries mixed into it, and there's some tea that she's serving. So she's working in the kitchen. She turns to you and says, "Well, the scouts. Remember, I mentioned I've already started the process of sending some scouts out for you. They should be due back in a couple of days' time. Maps, you say? I've heard of maps. Yeah, that's where you write things down where in places that aren't here. Is that right?
Bang on.
Never seen a map.
Right. Okay. Is there any kind of seat of learning within this little town? Any kind of public library?
It's a church.
Yeah. Does that have record?
I've got books.
But
So Askill has a navigation and mapping skill, so he can potentially create some maps.
it might take a wee while. No.
Well, even basic ones, you know. As long as he could even do a recce and scribble.
Are there church records?
I've got books. She says again, and then all of a sudden, just as she's about to pour some more tea, there's a very dramatic knock on the front door. Strange, she says. Will you excuse me? And
sorry. Tanya's going to take herself off upstairs and is going to hide and listen.
Okay. So Tanya, you hit up and do that. Tanya, as you go, you hear some quite hurried conversation at the front door, and in like a minute or so, Maisie comes back into the kitchen, and there are 3 men with her. They look like this. This man. This man. And this man. They're all breathing slightly heavily. This guy here has got... they're not armed, by the way. Sorry, if they have weapons, they're clearly not drawn, and this guy clearly doesn't have his weapons out. They're breathing heavily. They're covered in sweat. This guy here has got some blood on his shoulders. It looks like he's got not a major, but a slight injury on his right shoulder. Just a graze, but it's bled a little bit, and it's gone down onto his chest. Their clothes are travel stained, and yeah, they've got almost like a layer of sweat on them. And Maisie seems quite surprised. She brings them in and firstly hurries to get them some water and something to drink. And the three men stand around in Maisie's small kitchen, looking at the 5 of you, kind of eyeing you up and down. No one speaks for a moment. Maisie comes back, gives them some water, and they very, very thankfully neck the water. Maisie turns to you and says, much to my surprise, the scouts are back early. This is Brannon, she says, very large man, who nods. Donal, again, he nods at all 3 of you, and Fergus, this guy here. I wasn't expecting them back for 2 days. Yeah, she turns to them all again. Brannon, Dougal, and Fergus, these are the clients that I told you about. These are the clients that you were out looking for. And the 3 men nod. And this man turns to you all, and he's wiping the water off his face and kind of wiping away some of the sweat on him. His breath has slowed a little bit. Greetings, sirs, madams, he says, in kind of slightly strange, halting Westron. Clearly, Westron is not his first language. He certainly can make himself understood, but his accent is quite strange. Yotto, I'm afraid, as per usual, this is quote unquote all Greek to you. Although Nicholas, I think, was had kindly
Nicholas will translate. Yep.
had
Yeah,
been
like
kindly translating. We we have news. We have news. May we sit? Who are you? He says. May we know your names?
Severin will stand up and offer his hand and say, bow deeply and say, Espen Toravir.
Well met, friend.
Eskel will introduce himself. Eskel. Same thing. Shake hands. Jada would stand up, tower over them, and just nod.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so Nicholas would stand up, introduce himself, and shake hands with each of them.
Does
and
Nicholas? So Nicholas speaks Alberinian, which is the Mara language, which presumably that he's heard. Although he was saying that he was wanting to keep his Mara ancestry quiet.
He would not use that language. He'd use, I can't find languages in his thing. He'd just use whatever language they're using, Westeron or something.
Westeron, yeah. Okay.
But obviously he'd listen to see if they would speak to each other in Mara or something to see if he can get some inside intel. He'd shake the hands and introduce himself, but would in no way he'd make it as unobvious as possible. He is Mara blood. And I think Yotto wouldn't stand, would kind of nod and bow, and would keep listening and looking at them.
Okay. Certainly Brannon, the guy on screen, does kind of give Nicholas a bit of a once-over, a bit of an interested eye. Friends, so we have news. May we sit? May we share what we know? And if you agree, we need to make haste. Haste now, today, right now. So we were tasked here by Maisie to, a few days ago, seeking what we understand you were seeking, which is interest in ruins by and he spits at this point on Maisie's nice clean floor, the forces of Turang. So for the last 6 or 7 weeks or so, we and some of the other scouts that work for the butchers and the Kingsmen, it's kind of slang term for the Thracians, have been noticing more and more either Turong scouts or their pet blueskins, vile traitors that they are, in an area around about 2 days hard walking, running almost, from here, directly south of here, past the Kalen River. So we've been noticing this for some time, and then for 6 or 7 weeks. Then, a few days back, Maisie here, he gestures at Maisie, asked us to keep an eye out, particularly for any Turang forces that might be interacting around old ruins or old buildings. Frankly, that was easy because there is nothing out in the borderlands between here and Turang that matches that description that we're aware of. It is just, and he taps his chest here, it is Blueskin land. Other than rumors of some old buildings, some ancient buildings, at the end of something called the Vale of Whispers. We don't know exactly where the Vale of Whispers is because none of us have been there. There are rumors there that it is the haunt of wyverns and ogres and other bad places. We and the other clans just simply don't go there. There's no cause to go there. There's no reason to go there. Anyway, 6 days ago, we spotted a large group of 46 men, we counted them, and mules. Some Turang soldiers, but some in different dress. Some wore mostly black. Coming from the Turang border and taking their time a long way round, past the very high cliffs and hills, very steep country that surrounds Vale of Whispers, to the north end, the only way into the Vale. And there, they wound up the very steep hilly path, up towards the Odana farm. The Odana farm is on this strange, and he's kind of struggling for the right word, strange place, narrow saddle, at the end of a short gap. So you come up the hill like this, yes, and then there is the saddle, and then you go down into Vale of Whispers, and you can only go in this one way. And the Odana farm sits at the end of the valley. We know the Odanas. They are a part of the Lodak clan, but with strong links to the Kinsel clan. So they are independent, free blueskin that don't know the ways of civilization and good houses and good things and good wine and good aqueducts and good roads, etc. Proud people, and their farm commands, on that saddle, commands entry into the valley. Anyway, we see this group, 46, go in and go up to Odana farm. We run hard. We run 2 days. Walk hard 2 days to come back here. We arrive today to say they are there now. The Turang men are there now at this place. They go down. We think they go down into Vale of Whispers, and they go maybe old stone building. We don't know Vale of Whispers. No blueskins, no Vale of Whispers. We don't go there. Best people to speak, who maybe know little, is old Mad Odana and family. They are best to ask. Their farm here, at the start of Vale, no other farms, no other around. They are only ones crazy enough to maybe go into Vale of Whispers. The wyverns or augurs, very bad, not good. But we need to go now, right now. If you come now, do we go? We will take you. Maisie, she give us money, she give us coin, she pay us. We will go, we will take you. We will be your guides. 2 days. 1 day walk fast, sleep, walk, then cross river, and then up into hills. And then tomorrow night, we there at Odana Farm.
So,
he's still speaking. We take you there. We guide you. We no fight. We can fire the bow if you need, but we know with, and he taps his sword and his axe. But we can guide. We take you there, bring you back, and if you need the bow, yes, but no fight. We must go now if you want to go. Yes? Yes, Yoto. Yes, Yoto.
Oh, crikey, sorry, I didn't mute it. Yoto would turn to Nicholas and ask, in whatever language they're using, to ask them if anybody in the party knows what Torvash Papillus looks like. He doesn't, and if he is with this party. So if that information is available. Does anyone in our party know what Torvash Papillus looks like?
We've had quite detailed descriptions, but it sounds like they saw them at quite a distance, right? But the people dressed in black would certainly match his retinue's description. So I think we could, very probable that he's one of them. But it sounds like, we'll qualify that. What distance did you see the group from?
We see. Well, close. We're good scouts. Maybe 300, 400, 500 feet.
Right. Yeah.
You have seen to just, and sorry because it was a very long time ago. Just as a GM helpful refresher, you have seen Torbush Papillus in a memory stone. If you remember, you had those strange memory stones that you were given to look into.
Okay, well, we'll give a description. Severin will give a description of the man and say, long shot, I know you're a fair distance, but we're particularly interested in an individual who looks like this, insert description.
Oh, better than that, the GM will show you the description that you've seen him. So you have seen Torbush Papillus in a memory stone, and he will look like, would be if the GM actually kept his stuff in better order.
Shaven head, wears black, looks a moody sort of fellow.
You got him.
Dripping in poison.
David here looks moody. It's genius.
Yeah, I told you.
Bang. You bang on the money.
So that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
You just know he had an emo adolescence, didn't he?
Yeah. Possibly has breasts. We haven't quite worked that out, but.
Yeah. What do you say?
I would. Well, Severin says thank you. Bows deep and says thank you for this information. I think yes, we would like. We could safely say that we would like to act on that. Yes. Is everyone in? Turns to the group.
So is it? We're going to have to decide whether we're going to try and help Severin's mum.
So we got 3 weeks to do that at least.
Yep.
Let's go.
We're only 2 days away from the Vale.
Mm-hmm.
So chances are we're not going to be gone for more than, unless things go really wrong, more than 2 weeks. So yeah, I reckon this will take us into 2025, but we'll do. I reckon this is what we're here to do, right? And this is a really good lead, so I don't think we can let it pass, right?
Yep. Okay.
The only thing is we're going to need some provisions and quickly. So I just mentioned that to Cheryl and say we need to pick up some rations, pack down rations, and
I'll make you a packed lunch. She says.
That's very fine. Is there somewhere in town we could pick up some packed down lightweight rations for several weeks' journey?
Yep. Jim's going to head to Lou, have a chat. Back in a sec.
I too will head to the loop.
Well, the other thing is, yeah, I might too actually. But the other thing to consider is whether whether horses are an option. I might want to check if everyone can ride. Of course, but
Do they ride?
they don't. No, but we could ride to the. We could always. I don't know. Worth inquiring, right? That would get us there a lot. That would get us there a lot quicker and back. I mean,
Actually, it's a good idea.
I'm going to just check your sheets to check that everyone actually has a riding skill.
What does ride elemental mean? So on Nicholas's it says ride, but it has elemental in brackets next to it.
Yeah, I think. I mean, neither of my characters are experts, but what's?
Yeah, Yotto's 22 and Nicholas is 29, but he's ride elemental. Does that mean he has to ride a magic wind horse? Or?
Yeah, that sounds rather specialist. I think that's one of his spells. Yeah, he's training in. Severin's 46, Tenya's 33. So they're not. But even if we were to, we're not. But if we don't canter it, right? If we just.
If you point a horse in the right direction and we trot, you will. I don't know what the rules are, but yes, riding a horse is not hard. Galloping is very hard.
Well, ask our guides to see if they actually can ride. We can even rope our horses together.
Have you guys got coin?
I've got what?
Coin, money, because you're going to have to buy or hire them, presumably.
Well, yeah, we'll work that out. We haven't got tons of coin, but The only thing is that when we're out in the wild, there are these creatures, those troll boar things that, I know you probably, yeah, some creatures that we've encountered in other areas of these troll boars that are pretty massive and lethal, and you really don't want to take them on. Anything that's larger than like a large scale size creature, you really don't want to be taken on in combat because it'll just gore you and flatten you pretty easily. So, but our tactics for meeting troll boars before now has been to get to higher ground and fire arrows at them and use magic, But obviously they can gap as well. So if we meet one of those, that could be potentially difficult. But it would be difficult on foot. But it might mean the horses run off. The other thing,
how you do that, Brian? Didn't you get the troll to walk off the cliff?
Hey?
Pete got one of his characters to make the troll walk off the cliff. Which character was that?
That was an actual troll, I think, not a troll boar. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And them too, and ogres. Yeah, just something to mind for is the horses might. We might want to, if we do grab horses, we might want to try and rope them together because they will run off, and trolls eat horses, of course. So but anyway, just something to consider. But if we, does Askell ride a horse?
Yep, he's got a ride horse skill.
How's he looking?
Where is it? Ride horse. Plus 16.
All right. Okay.
Not huge, but for the time period, etc., it'd be foolish not to.
So Yotta's is 22, and that should be enough to get on a horse and trot along, right?
Yeah. And what about Jada?
Jada. This is tall as a horse. Let's have a look.
This is where we needed grey, right? Anyway, never mind.
Yeah. She's got riding, so plus 15.
Right. So we can ride, but we're all pretty average rider. Severin's the best at 46, so I guess he could take point. We'd probably rope the horses together, so nobody bolts. But it would get us there and back quicker, and it means that we can actually, if we get some rations, we could put the rations on the horses. Because I think we can only carry about 1 week's rations at any time, but we could get 2 weeks and leave some on the horses and stash them at the farm.
Yeah.
Plan.
So those the scouts will go on foot. The only other thought was, I know we've done it previously where we've done fly spells to move quicker, but that might be a little bit obvious.
Tend not to. I mean, obviously they don't last that long, and actually tend not to move that much quicker. In fact, most fly spells are slower. There is a 75-foot around one, which is quicker, but obviously that only lasts for a little bit. It's fine for small distances, but obviously you'd need to be, I don't know, need to cast a quite high level to get that 75-foot around. Don't know what you've got, but because actually, I think the entry level fly one is only walking pace, if that. But we could see if our guides do ride. Even if they don't, even if we just took some ponies to put some supplies on, that'd be something, right?
Yep.
So let's ask anyway, and the DM's back. Anything else that we need to take with us other than food and water?
Do we need to be aware of what the weather's doing? We'll just sleep under the stars.
Chris?
It's just the GM. Yep,
Hello.
GM's back and he's hungry. He hasn't just realised he hasn't had any lunch or breakfast.
Dangerous.
Hello, how can I help?
So, just like to ask the guides if they ride,
Is this one?
and A, if they can ride, B, whether there's somewhere we could hire horses, failing that, somewhere we could just get a mule to carry some supplies on if we're going, and is that wise thing for us to do? Was that going to slow us up or make us liable for detection? We're just mindful. We want to take some. We want to get some provisions before we go. Ideally, we can carry a week's worth, which should be enough. But we might want to take extra water and provisions on a mule, or even better, should we hire horses? What do the guides think of that?
Okay, cool. Can
Just
the
take
GM have something to eat? And I'll answer those questions.
Sure.
Cool. Talk amongst yourselves. Back in a sec.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously this is our primary mission, so I don't think we should let this go up with such a hot lead. But hopefully we'll be done and back within just over a week, right?
Yeah.
Famous last words and all that. And we'll chat to these guides on the way and get them to sketch out where all these landmarks are for when we get back, so we have a rough idea. Have you got a pen and paper?
That's cool.
If you're on Navman.
No, not listed on his list, but I guess that's what we should ask Maisie for going.
Well, I'd nip out and get some parchment and some chalk or some descripts, and then you could maybe draw us a map.
Yep.
In fact, it wouldn't hurt you using your navigation skills on the way there in case we have to find our way back without the guides, for whatever reason.
I'll let the GM know I'm doing that as well. Yeah, because he's got both the mapping and navigation.
That'd be great. Tanya's got some outdoor skills, but not that, I don't think. She's got a bit of foraging. She's pretty good at tracking. Average at trap building. Yeah, she might be able to follow our tracks back, or follow tracks there. But yeah, if you don't do navigation as well, maybe between us we'll... If our guides run off, we've got some means of getting back.
Yeah. Do they have compasses at this day and age? It says in here, using with various directional aids, such as a compass, a landmark of the stars.
I think there is a compass, yeah. Have you got one?
No, you won't do. I'll have to go and get one. Okay, parchment, writing implements, and compass.
Severin has some chalk.
Yeah. We'll use just a bit of charcoal. Just basic maps. You can just need general sort of direction. But gosh, it might not even be that complex, but
Tanya has some quills, ink, and paper, so don't worry about that. That's one less thing to get.
You probably want some sort of, rather than ink and quills, you probably want some sort of like a pencil, I guess. Otherwise,
I've got some chalk as well, so that should do us.
Okay.
Is that just for drawing a map, Graham?
Yeah.
Sorry, viewer, listener, and most importantly, players. GM was absolutely starving, and you don't want a hangry GM. Cool. So, what happens?
So, we'd like to ask the... actually, Nicholas has got quills, ink, and paper as well, so we're all set up for that. Just like to ask, in terms of getting us there quickly, do the guides ride? Can we hire horses? Is that a good option for us to take? If not, should we take a mule with us to carry extra food and things like that, or is that going to slow us down? What do they think?
Yes, of course we ride. We love horse. We love horse. But by the time you deal with horse traders and at time it takes to purchase horses, if there are horses to buy here, more than half a day to go.
Okay, don't worry then. And in terms of a mule, same thing?
Mule, no, easier. Yes.
Should we take a mule for extra food and water?
Yes, we can, and let's do it.
What do the guides think of that?
Yeah, we take the how you say, path up to Odana Farm is difficult, but they have animal that go up and down. No, it's good. It's good. But we leave animal long way from Odana Farm. We don't want they to hear us. We want to see if Odana are at farm or if the black men and and he spits again, much to Maisie's distaste. And the Turang men, soldiers, if they are at Odana Farm, or what? So we leave Mule long way. Mule may get eaten.
Yeah. What is there water sources?
Yes.
How many days? Yes.
Yes.
So we don't really need a mule then.
So Maltov, they say Maltov, is name. Maltov is the birth of the twin sisters. Two river, or maybe one river that spring from ground inside Odana Farm. Yes, and that flow out to pond, or you say lake, and then come downhill, and then and this one goes down to the river Kalin. So yes, good water.
Great. That's okay. Well, let's not worry about the meal then. Maybe. Okay, is that right with everyone? We just need to quickly get provisions for to take with us to eat food.
Pro what?
Food.
Food. Yes. It's good. I like food.
Can we get rations? Shows rations. This is what they look like. Can we get some of these here, please?
Oh yes.
Any hunting on the way, like rabbits or ground animals, anything small?
Yes, you hunt. Deer, yes. Yes, rabbits, yes.
Maybe on the way home. Okay, all right. Well, let's get ready then, shall we? So, other than things we want to buy, you wanted to see. It might take a bit of time to get a compass, I think, but in terms of easy to get there. In terms of direct, you will take us there.
Yes.
If we have, will you stay and wait for us and bring us back?
Yes. We go no further than Odana Farm. We go to Odana Farm with you. What you do from Odana Farm, you. If there is fights, we can use the bow, but we and he points to Maisie, our agreement, our deal, we guide, maybe some bow if needed, but no fight. Just not us.
Understand.
But we take as far as Odana Farm. Yes? We need to speak Odanas.
Okay, let's go. We'll get some food, then we'll go. I don't, Ascot, I think, I think if by the time we bought a compass, it could take hours, couldn't it?
Yeah, happy. We can just go.
Although, maybe when you get back, it might be a good one to have. If you're a navigator, that'd be excellent.
Yep.
Okay. Everyone happy? Should we bugger off?
Yeah, let's go.
Yep.
Let's go.
Okay.
So food and obviously fill up water skins, as many rations as we can carry, which I think is 1 week. All our equipment, which we may need along the way. And thanks to Cheryl. And we'll be back.
We'll be back, won't we? We don't need to take absolutely everything if we don't want to.
You could leave something behind if you don't want it.
I think both Yotto and Nicholas will take everything they have, but...
Yeah, I think they...
Yeah, I think Askell Jada, they're used to carrying everything in a pack, so just take it all.
Okay.
And...
Sorry.
Right. What am I going to say? Oh, I forgot. It's right, it's gone.
So for some food, you can either pay preserved rations, which would be basically essentially trail rations, a bronze piece for a week, weighs 14 pounds, and those are preserved. They will last for quite some time. Or normal rations at half the price. They weigh 18 pounds, but they would spoil, so that would be cheese and things like that that would go off. Your call.
Expensive ones.
Expensive
That are
ones.
lighter.
Okay. Trail rations, a bronze
Trail
piece,
rations, yeah.
a bronze piece each. Please mark it off.
Yeah, I can do that. We'll shout Yotto some, because I'm checking he's got no money.
With 3 silver pieces is what Yotto has, so he'd pay for this, but he'd thank Askell for his offer of generosity.
Says you're breaking the silver. I'll just update that now.
All right.
So that gives them how many days of food?
7.
Week.
7.
7, okay. It did have, we had 5 days down there already, but I'll just change it.
Does everybody have water skins?
Actually, Yotto does not. Nicholas does.
My 2 do, yeah.
Yeah, everyone's got water skins. Do we want to grab that water skin? That should be relatively easy to find.
A water skin? Sure. A water skin is... a water skin is 1 copper. That's, you've got to keep filling those up, obviously. So generally, you get through an entire water skin, 1 water skin in 1 day.
Oh. It was £14 for the rations, eh?
Yes, it was. Quite heavy.
That will keep us alive. Oh, yeah.
So when you're ready,
Yeah, off we go.
we're just waiting for some others. Are you good to go, Askell?
Yeah, I'm just updating our sheet as we speak.
Thank you. Yeah, Yotto and Nicholas are ready to go.
Yeah,
Alright.
otherwise, yeah.
Okay, so your 3 guides, Brannon, Donnell, and Fergus, arrived early, like very early. They would have just got in just as the town gates opened at first light, and they were with you just as you were having breakfast, so maybe even 7 a.m, so around 7 bells. You have to wait a little bit for some of the places around town to open up, but there are a number actually of pretty good outfitting shops. There's obviously this is a garrison town, and of course, while there would be standards supplies from the army itself, quartermasters, etc., there are also a number of people that obviously have made their trade selling additional stuff to soldiers. So finding things like rations, basic equipments like a water skin, rope, etc., easy to do, and fair enough prices. But it does take you a little bit of time to wait until the shops open, and you can sense that your 3 guides are champing at the bit. They're kind of eyeing you up and down, kind of getting a bit of a measure of who they'll be traveling with. They don't say much. Brannon appears to be the spokesperson, and wouldn't say he's friendly, but he's a bit standoffish. But he clearly, he's a capable looking guy. When you leave Maisie's house, by the way, she bids you farewell and says you're welcome, of course, when you come back. She, prays to the gods and prays to Roldan that he smiles on your journey and may you accomplish whatever it is that you wish to do. Go in peace. And she kisses her hand and touches her breast and wishes you well. Heading out to get the supplies just before you leave the town, the 3 guides certainly travel light. They do have small bags each. Each of them do carry a bow, a couple of short bows and a composite bow, and a quiver of arrows each, which they have. But they're armed there, as you can see on screen. So Brannon chooses to fight with a short blade and a hand axe. Dougal has a spear and a sword at his side that you can't quite see, and Fergus, nasty pointy spear there, a short sword and a shield, and plus his bow as well. They look fit, healthy, and thoroughly capable, but they certainly don't have a lot of gear with them. No sign of any bedroll or any such luxuries as that. They seem almost impatient as you wait for the shops to open. You're probably underway at about 9 a.m. and you head out of the garrison town of Ras Fergus. And as you head out, you're not sure what direction you're going, but you certainly see you head through quite a bit of a shanty town, and there are definitely settlements in and around the town itself. So quite a number of buildings outside the town walls, the very robust stone town walls that I've mentioned. There's quite a decent part of the town that is outside the town walls. A bit further down the road, just as you're coming out of the buildings, looking up to your left, you see what you can only assume is one of north or south, you're not sure which, one of the butcher's camps. So rows and rows of tents. There's a palisade around it as well, reasonably hastily built by the looks of it. Palisade, felled trees, and rows of tents. You're assuming it's the butcher's camp. And you set off on your journey. Just give me one sec.
Severin will just say to Askel, if you could sort of start noting some of this stuff down for your map, that would be really handy.
Snap. I was just about to say that.
Okay. Just as you're getting underway, and by the way, these guys are setting a pretty cracking pace. So we'll be asking for a couple of maneuvers to basically keep up with them. But anything at least initially, I should know about. So maybe if we can go through each character and you tell me what you're doing, anything I may need to be aware of or not need to be aware of. Go for it.
What's the weather doing?
What's the weather doing? Sure. Yeah. Okay. So as mentioned, when you woke, it's a pleasant day, and the weather has held. It is. It's not massively warm. It would be kind of 15 to 20 degrees. There is a gentle breeze, however. It's sunny. A light breeze. Pleasant weather. Warm. And you think it's going to get hotter over the course of the day, but fine. Clear skies, slight breeze.
Okay. No, you can't see in the distance any untoward weather or anything like that coming?
No, not that you can see.
It's
pretty
good. Day. Okay, cool. Yep, that's
no.
Cool. What's that?
Cool.
Yotto will be engaging Nicholas in a probably fairly animated discussion, trying to make clear whether this is indeed Torvash Papillus they think they might be finding at the end of this, that he thinks is the case. And if he is, he'd be asking Nicholas to talk to the group about making sure if anyone gets the opportunity to kill him, he can. And he'd explain he has very personal reasons for wanting to perform this himself.
So just to sorry to help you, Giles. Giles, Yotto can speak. I think we determined when they met Yotto 2 sessions ago that Yotto's South Tongue. So he can speak to the group. He can't speak to the scouts.
Okay, well, he'd be speaking to the group in general then about that, and he'd explain to them, he holds Torvash Papillus responsible for the death of his parents and the death of what were his twins, and although he is a general rule of thumb isn't into killing people, this dude has got to pay, and he wants to do that personally himself. Apart from that, I don't think he'd be doing much. And I'm not sure if Nicholas would be doing anything in particular. And I'm interested in other people's thoughts about that.
I make a suggestion that Nicholas might just want to talk about some of the antidotes that he has for poisons. Or he's trained to use them, but in the worst case scenario, he might want to make the party at least familiar with the different substances and what they do.
Good plan.
I think Eskel, just in between all of this, would be interested as opportunity arises just to chat with Yotto a bit more, just to understand his background, who he is, and a bit more, and etc. Talk weapons, nice sword and all that sort of stuff, and
Yoda would be keen in having that discussion. And I think it would become very apparent as Askell talks to Yoda that they both...
You don't hear that. Not yet.
They both... So, turn it off then, Chris.
Just getting there, Giles. Just give me a chance.
Is the GM still hungry?
Yeah, so I think it'll become pretty obvious as Yotto and Askell talk that they both share similar interests in terms of using sword, weaponry, but also the same sort of magic. So, Yotto would be pretty open about the fact he's an essence magic user and has some particular skills in that area. And so he'd be pretty open about that with Askell as they talk about, stuff they have in common. And he'd probably go through the fact that some of his spells relate to attack and defense, engaging in combat, and they're the sorts of skills he has. Has the ability to flight or float if he needs to, although he doesn't have much capacity to use his spells. So I think that's the conversation Yotto would have, the information he'd share with Askell. Obviously if others are listening, fine, but...
Just as a reminder as well, you did have approximately 6 or 7 days sitting in that miserable, godforsaken, rat-infested room in Osot to get to know Yotto a bit as well, just as a reminder.
Well, no, probably. He's open. They'll probably know all that stuff.
Yeah. But it might be like diving a bit deeper in a few of the topics and explore a bit more. Askell will probably talk about his unarmed combat type prowess, throw out a few shapes and what have you.
Very good.
Tanya would continue talking to Jada about the 2 items that she's interested in trying to attune. In between that, she'd be doing regular perception rolls on the horizon and checking stuff out. Also, she's quite interested if she sees any tracks on the ground that correspond with the description of what she's heard of that number of men. And did we find out whether they were on men and mules, wasn't it? It's 46 men and mules. Just seeing if she can pick up any tracks that might correspond to that so she can get used to what they may look like so she could kind of follow them later on. But I guess that's ongoing from the journey. Wouldn't expect to see them yet. Severin would like to speak to the guides at length about the local area. He'd like to talk to them about some of the landmarks that he sees. He'd also like to get an idea of how far the north camp, where the south camp is, how close to the city it is, the route where the north camp is, where Gideon's Folly is, the routes between them, how long, he wants to kind of just act as interested in the area, scoping out everything around the city. He's particularly interested, he's saying that he knows that the Mara people are well known for their lie of the land and ambushing at something he's quite interested in, and he wonders whether there is any, he'll try and put this in a vague a sense as possible, but on the approaches to the city or around the camps where there is a place that if we wanted to keep an eye on things or hide or observe people as they went past, whether there would be suitable places that they could do such a thing, either between the north or south camps or around, between them and the route to town, whether there is any places to hide and observe things, etc., etc., etc.
Okay, cool. Thank you. All helpful. Okay, so I'll pick up bits and bobs of all of that as we go along. So you set off from Ras Garret. So immediately around the town, there's a bit of agriculture. So there are a few fields and grapevines, etc. But pretty quickly, you're moving off into the wilds, into open lands. You do see quite a few, at least initially, for the first 4 or 5 hours, Thracian soldiers, probably the first 2 or 3 hours, Thracian soldiers. And you do get to a point where you see in a couple of directions far off in the distance in either direction what appear to be watchtowers. And your guide, Brannon, pulls you up. Border, he says. Here, border. We step, no kingdom. It is blue land, man. Yes? Blue land. Blue man land, he says. We be cautious, we be quiet. There are some tribes here that have no love for Thrace. They have no love for... They are foolish men. They have no love for Thrace. They have no love for Turang. There is also Saston. And you say troll boar and other bad things here. We be cautious. We be careful. Yes. While you were walking out to the border area, he did answer some of your initial questions, Severin. Through his conversation, you think he's a bit vague, but you think that the south camp is about the same distance as the north camp. You could be in between kind of where you were lodging and the north camp. It sounds like you went past in maybe 15 to 20 minutes walking, and the south camp apparently is roughly the same as well, and similar apparently. A wooden palisade and tents inside. The Midnight Markets is well known. He doesn't go there. He says he is a godly man, and you don't know what that means, but he's a godly man, and he does not like the place, but he knows the midnight. He's heard of the Midnight Market. And Gideon's Folly is a popular place to go. In terms of places to ambush, he kind of looked at you a little bit quizzically. He says, look, it's mostly quite flat, but there is Ramen Gorge, maybe. Steep place, bridge, only narrow bridge to go. Maybe this is place. What you need place for? Again, he says, what you need place for? Hello? Is anybody there?
Sorry, talking to myself. As you know, we're chasing these individual Centaurong, and we know there are many spies. If we needed to keep an eye on the area and check people riding to and fro and checking people coming out to the city, this would be a good place to sit and watch, yes?
No, this is not near road. This is far from road.
Oh, so where is the Raman Gorge?
Is close to... maybe one bell away from Ras Garret, north. Northwest.
What way is it on its by one bell? You mean 1 hour?
Yes.
What's it on its way towards?
The big water.
The sea. Okay. Okay, but that's beyond the two camps or anything.
Yes.
Okay, but no, in terms of between the camps and the city,
nothing. No.
There's no trees.
No, it's farm.
Just open land.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so it's really close, so you can see them clearly then.
Yes.
Just extensions to the city, in other words, to the town.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, your trip past what you think North Camp was, it was just out of city limits.
Okay. And that place, the Midnight Markets, is an equitable distance as well, or just outside the walls, is it?
Yes.
Right, got you.
Okay. You progress on a bit further. The terrain is, reasonably starting to get a little bit hillier. Initially, you're kind of traveling over that. and a bit of that. Quite lush, quite green. And then at one moment, suddenly, Brannon puts up his hand, points down at the mud, and actually, Tanya, you see this about the same time as well. Very familiar prints. Very familiar prints. Last time you saw them were on Jewel Island.
Trollbore.
Shh, shh, he says. We be quiet. And pulls you down. Any actions I should be aware of?
Being very quiet.
Okay.
Thought perception set on full.
Okay, cool. A very, very far in the distance, you do hear some rather familiar squealing, but it soon drifts off. And you see that a number of you have tangled with, all of you have tangled, apart from Yotto, have tangled with Trollballs before. You're quite pleased that you didn't on this occasion. And you continue on your journey. Let's have a look. Yeah. Later in the day, late afternoon, you see a collection of men. They seem to have seen you, and they're coming in your direction. There's about 4 of them. They're on foot. Any preparations? Anything you're doing?
Can Tanya see anything?
Brindle flow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scouts, yeah. Perception roll from somebody?
Well, yeah.
Everyone, presumably.
Yeah.
So,
Tanya's 81, so I'll
Yep.
start with her.
You give me a roll. Start with your best.
She rolled a 90.
90. Shame it's masked. Yeah, so look, that's good enough, and they are soon coming in your direction. Yeah, what you see, 1, they're not quite in that pose. 2, and 3, 4 men.
He's not a real one.
They certainly have weapons on them, blades and spears and so forth. Not drawn, but they are coming reasonably swiftly in your direction.
Ask the guides if there's any, then we need to be concerned.
Yotto's going to prep to cast,
Okay.
no matter what.
Thank you. The guides, you see their hands have strayed to their sword hilts or their weapon hilts. Brannon turns to you and says, maybe good, maybe not good. We wait. You watch. We fight, you fight. Yes?
Yeah, Tanya will get a bow out.
Okay.
Put an arrow on, but not point it anywhere yet.
Okay.
So we're still on our horses, though, right?
We didn't get horses, bro.
Do we? I thought we did. Oh, sorry. What?
No, remember it's going to take half a day, so we just decided to bail. I've got that right, haven't I?
Yes?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So can I ask for some help here? Would Nicholas be more likely to prep to cast, or would he be more likely to draw his sword out?
Definitely
He can
prep.
cast it. Prep to cast. Okay, so Nicholas will prep to cast.
Though he also has a bow, but I think his preferred means of action is certainly spells, and he would probably.
Well, he's got sleep 5, which would be nice.
He tends
knock
to,
them all out.
yeah, he'll be at the back, preparing as his usual place, with a bit of warriors between him and the.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else from Severin or Eskel?
Askel's just percepting, just trying to read body language.
Severin is got his hand on his hilt, waiting, and will do if we're now stationary, he'll be adrenal strength preparing just in case.
Okay, sure thing. Okay. All right, these four come up. They don't get close to you. They'll probably be a good 50 foot off. They also have their hands on their weapons, and there is initially quite hostile discussion in Alberinian, which Nicholas you can understand. The tone of which is effectively, what man are you that walk on our land? Who are you? Are you king's men? Are you not king's men? Are you free men? And Brannon spits back saying, of course we're free men. We choose to serve the king and the butchers. And there's one of these guys spits and says, that's what I think of the butchers. Bastards all. And then one of your team, Donal, who's probably said the least, just when things are looking quite tense, Donal seems to recognize one of them, and he calls a name, Muckton. Is that you, Muckton? And suddenly tension is broken, and the two men go up and greet each other. They appear to be, if not friends, they certainly seem to know each other. And suddenly the tone relaxes, and Nicholas, you are understanding this conversation, but the tone around the three of your guides, and then these four men, changes quite abruptly. Hands come off weapon hilts, spears are kind of just hung at sides. Yeah, things calm down quite a bit. There's a bit of talking, there's a bit of backslapping. The two men, Donald and it's this man, Muckton, kind of do this weird chest bump thing where they kind of run into each other and bump each other's chest, kind of headbutt each other a couple of times playfully. And after some general jocularity, the two groups part. You do notice that Brannon, however, did keep his hand on his, not a sword hilt, but he did, Severin, you spotted this, he did have a dagger drawn and kept it down by his side. He actually had the weapon out, which he quietly sheaths as you head away. Clearly, not a lot of love loss between the various tribes. Any actions on the back of that I should be aware of?
Just more relaxed, give off good vibes that we're not about to just clobber them. Relax a bit, you know.
Yeah, so look, I think Yotto will be much more focused on what's going on. He's a half elf, right? So he's going to be looking much harder to see who's around and what's coming on the basis of this. He's a bit more angsty.
Sure.
I don't think Nicholas would be doing anything particularly, would he? I think he'd probably just relax.
Okay, cool.
Same with Eskel and Jada, just sort of, the situation seems diffused, more relaxed, but yeah, still obviously keeping wary of what's going around.
Sure thing. You continue. You continue for the remainder of that afternoon. They are setting a cracking pace, and what I'd like is, just to kind of see how your characters are faring in terms of moving rapidly. So it's not just simply walking hard. These guys are semi-jogging. They are moving fast. But everybody please make a constitution check. So give me a -10 constitution check. You've got to beat, remember, as always, you've got to beat 50. So you make the dice roll, add on your constitution bonus -10, and tell me how you got on, please. And if you could roll for both Jada and Nicholas.
So Yotto is 40.
Okay.
Yeah, Eskel was 73. Jada, she rolled at 83, so I'm pretty sure she's good.
Yep. And Actually, we'll do two. So this is for the morning and then the afternoon. Roll a second one. So these are hard maneuvers. So definitely record these hard maneuvers. Morning, afternoon. Severin, Tanya. Let me know when you're ready, guys.
Yeah, Jada. Sorry, Eska was 58. Jada just rolled a 95, so she's fine.
750. Sorry.
Yep, go.
752.
Yep.
Hang on, I've got to work out the other one. Where is it?
So Yotto is 40 and 70,
Yep.
and Nicholas is 73
Yep.
and 90.
Wow. Okay.
Tanya is 27.
And two rolls, one for morning, one for afternoon, please. So two more rolls.
Ugh.
Yeah. Tanya 21. Severin's fine.
What do you get?
50. Oh, work it out again. 50 something.
50. Okay, cool. So morning for Yotto was tough. Morning for Severin was tough, although kind of just passed. And Tanya was struggling. Maybe she's been relaxing too much on the ship or something, but she really was finding it hard. I mean, she kept up, but she definitely slowed things down a bit. And the same for you, Yotto. Yeah, you're almost a little bit embarrassed, Yotto, first time out of the blocks. But that afternoon, Yotto, things picked up for you. Askell, you're fine for both morning and afternoon. Jada breezes through both. You barely breaks a sweat. Severin, yeah, you kind of scrape through in the afternoon. You're weary. You're definitely tired. Tanya, it's just been a hard day of travel for you. You're weary. You are weary. In fact, I'm going to put you at a -5 because of just being shagged at the end of the day. And Nicholas, you pass both. So Tanya just, I don't know, was it the pace you were traveling at? Was it the terrain? Whatever. But you've really struggled a bit today, and you have a -5 that evening as you set up camp. Your guides find a good place to camp. Let me see if I can spot something appropriate. So you're coming into no, it's still reasonably flat. So something like that, and you find you can see some of those mounds there that back onto some rocks. Your guides set up a location where you're actually up off the ground, in not quite a cave, but almost like a scrape. There's some protection from the weather, although the weather today has been good all day, as described. Offers, and clearly it's been used as a campsite before. There's the remains of some old fires, etc. up there. It would be reasonably difficult for a predator or something to get up onto these rocks, and it seems like as good a place as any. The one disadvantage is it's not particularly comfortable. So anybody not using a bedroll, you'd imagine, such as your guides, would find it quite uncomfortable to be sleeping on the bare rock. They don't seem too phased. You guys bed down, and you take adequate precautions throughout the course of the night. And definitely there are some interesting noises at night. In fact, Severin, you hear something off in the distance that really just sends shivers up your spine. Severin, Jada, and Nicholas, actually. You remember those sounds from the Golden Strip? These massive 2.5 meter tall birds known as Sastin, sometimes known as murder chickens, murder birds, call them what you want. these very, very psychopathic, almost homicidal birds that just seem to attack and rend with their terrible claws and beaks on sight. It's been many, many months since you've seen one, Severin, but you certainly don't forget that noise. They were a long way off, however. Your guides definitely were alerted to the sounds, but that's about the only incident during the night. Please mark off a day's food, guys. Yes.
Can, after having a good chat about these objects with Jada, can Tanya have a crack at a tuning tone?
Yeah, definitely. So she's attuned. Well, sorry, that must be over 8 hours, and it's not something you can just do on the hoof. So it needs to be done full concentration. So you would have had a couple of hours today, perhaps, but actually you wouldn't have had the time today, and she's also shagged. So I'm actually going to say not today. You'll need more time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But you can. So it's. I guess the point I'm making is this is not something you just kind of idly chat about as you're traveling or puffing and traveling, but rather sitting down, dedicated study to figure out how to use the items. So sorry, I take that back. Of the enthusiastic, yes, you can try. No, you can't. Not, at least not today. The next day, you wake and get underway. First light. Your hosts pack up the very rudimentary camp that they had. They've got their own food, obviously. It's a little bit cooler the next day. There's a gentle breeze as well. Yeah, definitely a bit cooler. But at least initially. But then over the course of the day, it gets it definitely gets a lot hotter, and the wind drops off not long after you get underway. And you set off. Increasingly, you're heading across flat plains like this, and round about kind of first light, the very first major feature you pass is quite a decent size lake. It would be maybe 2 to 3 miles in length, perhaps longer from what you can make out. It fades into the distance. It's certainly very large. And GM's just checking his map. Yes. And then increasingly the terrain starts getting more and more rugged, and you can see in the distance it's not quite what you see. There's more, but yeah, more and more hilly. And going on for late afternoon, two things. In the distance, again, Severin, much to your horror, you spot these horrible things. They are quite some distance off. Your guides and hosts see them, and they're going in the opposite direction. You're pleased to see. But Severin, you remember tangling with them, and it was not fun.
Hungry-looking chickens?
Yes, hungry-looking chickens. You later in the afternoon, you ford a river. It's a major river, and it's up to about kind of knee height in the place that you cross it. It's clearly a place that a lot of people use. You can see lots and lots of tracks. Tanya, you're looking for tracks. No sign of the quantity of people that you're seeking. No sign of, for nearly 50 people and mules is pretty obvious. But no sign for you in the bank around the river. However, Tanya, a little bit later on, could you give me another tracking roll, please?
Certainly. This mast or actual?
Must. Always must.
37 plus
Yep.
67
37
plus 67.
Cool. Yeah, so probably another hour, and it's late in the afternoon at this stage. Another hour of crossing the water. You, Tanya, and others, but particularly you, begin to notice at first. Yes, there are tracks, and there are tracks of larger numbers of people, and definitely mules. And you're coming to. Let's see if I got some. Yeah, that would probably do it. Hills in the background there. That would probably be about it. And then quite a bit more, and a range of hills, very, very, very steep. Can you guys see my cursor, by the way? Look.
Can now. Yeah, didn't earlier.
You can now. Yeah, great. So
Yeah.
got that kind of height of hill, but a range of them going down one side and a range going down the other side. And down this side, from what you can see, incredibly steep, like chunks of stone. And very, very, very steep to get up. And it appears the same on the other side too. You've crossed the river in this direction, so I imagine you're coming in this way. And almost as you come, not quite to the foot of these low hills, but not far off it, that's where you start to see these tracks, Tanya. Tanya initially, and then others. And these tracks turn, and you follow them up a winding path that heads up into the hills. It's late afternoon at this stage, and your guides are informing you, Odana Farm up here, very close, very close. We be quiet. Shh, you be quiet. And if somebody makes a clink or a bit of metal kind of taps on another, there's a glare from one of them. You're quiet, quiet, and you start to head up. There's still palm trees, etc., swaying in the breeze. Late afternoon light, not quite dark, and you can now all see these numerous footprints of people that have gone before you. Tanya, with your role and with your knowledge of tracking, these are older prints, so definitely, at least 3 or 4 days, probably about 3-4 days old from what you can make out. At least the mule prints and the prints of the 40, 50 or so people that have gone before you. 3-4 days. They're certainly not today. Definitely not fresh. And you wind your way up this very, very steep trail. It's quite awkward in places. You have to grab onto things to pull yourselves up. It's quite a feat. I would like, please, again, because of the pace that you've been setting, to make 2 more rolls, both for your morning exercise and then for your afternoon exercise for all characters. Can you give me a roll, please? And this may give you a negative. Again, hard maneuvers.
Sweet.
Do you want the numbers or the numbers plus Constitution?
So I want the result, which is you've got to beat 50. So roll the dice, add on your Constitution bonus, and minus 10.
Yep.
Yes, good morning. 63, 83, 10.
Whoa, hang on. Sorry. So Askell was what, please? 63?
63 plus
Yep.
20, so 83 minus 10, 73.
Yep,
So Askell morning's good.
Yep, 73. Yep, just give me the grand total.
Okay.
Yep. In the afternoon?
Askell afternoon. 88. So
80.
108.
Yep.
98.
Yep, just the final number, please. Cool.
Okay.
88. Cool.
Okay, Chris. So Nicholas is 49 for the morning.
Oh, no. Okay. Yep.
And 78 for the afternoon.
Okay. Yep.
And Yotto is 60 for the morning and 93 for the afternoon.
Cool. And Jadar?
Morning. 75.
Yep.
Afternoon. Afternoon 39, so 29.
Fine. Cool. Okay. And Severin and Tanya. Graham?
Severin 53 for both.
Well, really? Wow. Okay. Yep.
And I've just got to work out 10 years. The first one, 10 year did really well. It was 80 something. Second one, hold on a minute. $46.
46. Okay. No one there got 2 failures in a row, unlike Tanny the previous day. So, whoops, strange. Those come up. So no one gets a penalty. Tanny, you did find it tougher going in the afternoon, but after a decent night's sleep, you're not too bad. Jada, no. Yeah, that was about it, I think. Everybody else passed. Apart from Nicholas with a 49. Yeah, 49 in the morning. So no, not too bad, all of you. It was an easier day this day, perhaps. Anyway, late afternoon, you find yourselves kind of pulling yourselves up this path, not jungle path exactly. There are palm trees around. It's still reasonably hot, a bit sticky, but up to 25 degrees perhaps. Late afternoon, but it's definitely the terrain as on screen. You know, there are a few trees around, but it's not dense foliage. Until finally you get to here. GM will just do a little bit of GM jiggery pokery. Away. Get to here. Oh. So your guides are with you, and they say, Odana Farm, this way. Be quiet. And can you please give me, everybody please give me an easy stalking maneuver. So this is plus think about this, hang on a second. Yeah, easy. Plus 20 stalking maneuver. If you don't have stalk, can someone who has the skill, can you let me know, or let everybody know what the stats are for the skill, please?
This is stalk and hide here, Chris.
Yep. So what I'd like everybody to do is to make a. I'm just trying to think what's the easiest way to do this. Let's do it this way. Who is the person who has the worst stalk and hide or no stalk and hide?
So my two characters have 31 and 41.
Severin has got none.
None. There you go. Okay, so we're going to base this on the worst member of the party, which is Severin. So Severin, not that everything rides on you, but everything does ride on you. Can you please make a stalking maneuver? This is what are the 2 stats, please, for someone that has the skill?
Ooh. Ouch.
Oh dear. What do you mean? What are the 2 stats, Chris? Oh, it's agility and SD, whatever that is.
That's what I wanted. Thank you.
Self-discipline.
Yep. So Severin, if you can make a roll and have your skill, as per usual, guys, this should be familiar territory. So if you don't have a skill, it's negative 25. You modify that negative 25 by your agility and your self-dis, added together and divided by 2.
Hang on.
Oh dear.
And you modify that, of course, by your moving and armor skill.
Just
Well,
moving up.
he's just got a 4.
Roll again.
Hang on. Fuck.
Yeah, one of the dice fell off the table. The 10s.
8.
Okay, so 4 minus 8. Okay, so 4 minus 8. Yep. Yep.
Hang on. I've got my modifications to come yet, haven't I?
Yep, you do.
So for self-discipline, right? And agility.
Correct.
Well, that's not too bad. Plus 23.
Including the negative 25?
What's the 25?
Okay, so guys, so in this game, any skill that you don't have training in, every skill is negative 25. Yep, it's a neg 25, and then you modify that skill by the stats that you have. So in this case, it's agility and self-discipline. So you take the negative 25, and what the negative 25 represents is being unskilled. Yep. So you don't have a skill in that ability, but you have natural or innate talents. In this case, your agility and your self-discipline, and you modify those two skills, those two stats, added together, divided by 2, and then modified the negative 25 on that basis.
All right, then the stats modified -2.
-2. Okay, cool. So it was 4 minus 8, -2, and then what's his moving and armor, please?
-10.
-10. Negative 16 in total. It could have been a lot.
Oh. Does he get a plus, though? You said plus 20, didn't you?
I did, yes. So we're doing this on the easy column. Yes, I did. It's actually, rather than a plus 20, I'm doing it on the easy column. So negative 16, that could have been, if that was like a medium maneuver, that could have been serious trouble. Give me a roll, Severin, and what I'm gonna do here.
I think he'll hang back. Actually, I think that's the safest thing.
Yeah, give me a roll, please. You got a 30% chance of making no noise.
21.
21. You're fine. After all that. So a bit of clanking from Severin, but so after all that, you actually ended up being fine. Okay. So you guys move from here, and you move a little bit further around, and then creep very cautiously up here, and you can just see it's probably the light's not quite right. Just make out in the corner, in the far distance down here, some walls, and your guides on the way up have described that the O'Donnell farm is not like a fighting village, so they have a palisade up to protect against wild animals, and certainly the walls that they have up would be absolutely adequate to fending off either a Sastin or a troll boar attack, or even perhaps an ogre attack. But against a dedicated attack from human beings, no. So this is not a village that's heavily fortified for humans, but there is a good strong wall up to protect themselves from animals, and you can just make it out. Here, kind of peering down the way, and this is the track, and you can see down here, this is where the 50 or so people along this grassy area, the 50 or so people and the mules have gone. Quite clearly, this is the way in and out. Your guides lead you in this direction, sneaking up quietly, and with Severin actually making that roll remarkably. They lead you up here, and a bit further along. They're not obviously moving quite as fast as this. And then they bring you to the top of this little rise, up here. And you see the following. You'll see the following. Why didn't that work? This way. Just peering up through these ferns, you can see a large palisade. It is, as you can see here, it is quite large. It starts down here, and there's definitely water sources, perhaps these two twin rivers that your guide spoke about. There's the gate there, and at the top of the gate, looking over, you can see a soldier on some kind of raised platform, a spear. down here, another one. And there are definitely people moving around here. Some children playing near the water here in the late afternoon sun. And spinning around in more buildings. I'll just raise it up a little bit for a better view. We can't quite see that amount. But a wooden palisade that goes all the way around. And there are people moving around, people moving inside the huts, you can definitely see. And there are others moving around over here. And the palisade walls go all the way around the back. And they come around, rejoin. They go down here, across this waterway, and there appears to be... can't quite see it there, can you? Maybe not. Can give you an even better view. Yeah, there's two sources of water, one there and one just slightly out of view behind the palisade, just down here. And 1, 2, very large building here, 3, 4 buildings there. There are a few animals. You definitely hear some... oh yeah, where are my chickens? I'll put some chickens on in a second. And there's some cattle over here. Just over here, you can make out quite a number of mules, ponies. The area that you're in is very, very narrow, so it's not shown on screen. But basically, just where those trees are, there are walls of rock going up. And again, over here, just behind these trees, walls of rock. There's a what do you call it? Probably a lake or a pond. Not huge, several 100 foot across. It's formed by these this river coming out here, stream. Yeah, river coming out here. And then there's a waterfall that you pass on the way up, and you've actually been following this little river as you wound your way up the hill. Over here on this side, again, there is a chunk of just naked rock and a gap, and you can see what your guides were describing, that this area, this kind of saddle, is in between, and is the only way, it appears to be at least the only way in and out of this valley that you were described. And the valley itself continues on. Hopefully, you can see my cursor on in this direction. Can you see my cursor, guys? Yes, you can. So the valley continues on in this direction.
And so there's on the right there, the palisade actually secures the gap. There's no way around. You can't walk around it.
No. Oh no, you can.
All right. So there's a gap between that edge of the palisade and the rock wall.
Correct.
Right. Okay. What? How wide?
Maybe 50, 60 foot, something like that.
Okay. Well, Severin will whisper to one of our guides. How can he whisper?
Yep.
I mean, he won't be heard. How close are we?
He can whisper. Yep.
Worth you going in just to say, do you know these people? You go in and say hello, and if the coast is clear, you invite us in. You think this is the way to do it?
Torang soldier.
Turan soldiers here.
Yes.
Where?
Oh, this man.
I thought I had a spear. Sorry, I thought they were... okay, all right. So I thought they... Not blue skin. Okay.
Oh, Turang soldier. This one. Tikos.
Sorry, I can't quite see. What am I looking for?
One on the bridge, for a start.
Right, gotcha.
And there's one there. Oops, did you see him?
No. Oh, yeah, right, looking over the wall. Okay. All right, that's different then.
Tikos.
What? All right, Severin will whisper, possible to go round, or if we have to get in, which is the best way?
We need speak Odana.
Okay, so we need to kill the Torang people.
You want to know what is in Valley, yes?
Yes. Which is the best...
Odana, they know.
Okay. Okay. All right. Conflab, Whisper. What do you want to? I mean, do you want to send Tanya in to try and bump one of these guys off?
So that's what there's 2 so far.
Yeah.
If we take them out, what will that do to Odana people? Are they? Can we see if they're being held captive, persecuted, or are they not in league with, but just comfortable with the Turong people being there? Just wondering if you take some out, then just either happy witness or hey, what have you done?
Well, there's kids playing. I mean, there might be. I suppose you could, if someone made Tanya invisible, she could at least check the place out. If someone made her invisible and flying, she could fly around the place and give it a thorough check out.
I think Nicholas would be happy to do that.
Or actually, or send the Whispling in. Actually, that's probably better. Send the Whispling in and check it out, and then if we think we can bump, maybe sleep 1 or 2 of them, and maybe bump the other one off.
Yep.
But why don't you send the Whispling in and have a, at a very discreet distance, like come out of the sun type thing, and watch where the shadow is. Just kind of have a scout around and see how many soldiers you can see that are outdoors.
Where is this Whispling, Chris? Is it a spell or is it just a thing he has?
It's a spell. Yep. Does have an issue with range, however.
100.
Which spell list is it on?
On. Can you read out the spell list, please? Do you have his spells handy, Giles?
Yeah, I'm going through them right now.
Yep. Can you, if you read out the names of the spell list, I'll tell you which one it's on.
Barrier Law.
Nope.
Greater Elemental Summoning. There we go.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So I guess he'll use the Greater Whispling.
Yeah, I might just help you out a bit. It's, you're very kindly playing someone else's character. I don't know if he has Greater Elemental Whispling.
He's got it to level 10, so...
Oh, okay. Does he? Okay. Okay, what's the key point that I'd like to know, please, is the
100
range.
feet. His range, 100 feet.
Cool. 100 feet? Cool. So, 100 foot here is... to give you a sense, from here, that point there, that's 200 foot. So that tree is 120 foot. So 100 foot is... hang on. So you guys are... Yeah, hang on. I'm just going to grab you. Grab at least one of you. Copy. And pop someone here. Okay, oops. Paste, bang. It's obviously not standing up like that. So assuming you guys are there. Can't see your guy. Looking, there we go. There we go. So 100 foot would be from there. That would get you to kind of about there. Just past the wall where you currently are.
Can they get in closer?
Sorry? You'll
Can they get?
Yep, but you'll definitely be needing stalking rolls. Sure.
Okay, so I think probably maybe Nicholas would suggest he could make himself invisible and then go right up to the wall and then cast his whistling and have a look around and come back with whatever intel there is. That would work, wouldn't it?
I wonder if, given the limited range, even if you're out the wall, you're still not going to cover the whole camp.
No.
So
You went up
why
from
don't you?
here.
Well, how about you just make Tanya invisible and we make her fly, and she flies around the entire stockade, and then she'll come back and tell exactly what's there.
Fine by me.
And then now, one of you got this. Have you also got sleep spell, Nicholas?
So Nicholas has a sleep spell and so does Yotto, actually.
And what's the range on that?
I'm just trying to find it. I should know. 100 feet.
So could you reach, Chris, can you reach the nearest guard?
Where you are currently, there are two. You can see there's a guard there, and there's a guard there. From that distance, that's 114 foot where he is currently.
So you need to get a little bit closer, like move along, come in again from the left where the trees extend a bit further. Further to the left.
So,
yeah, that little
so
that bunch.
100 foot from the closest guard. You can see at least the closest one is that's 100 foot there.
And the
But
furthest guard?
Sorry, furthest guard is yeah. It's 100 foot.
Yeah, you see those three trees on the left there?
Yeah.
If you could get there, you could get both of them. Because
Yeah.
I mean, Tanya could take one of those guards out if she's invisible and flying, but there's obviously the one behind who would see them. That's the three we see, right?
Is the plan here to kill all of the Turang in this village?
That will be good, I think. Or at least maybe you can get one of them to talk.
So do we know how many there are in this village?
No, that's why I thought it might be good to do a recce.
Yeah, so before we put anyone to sleep, let's just make her invisible, do a recce, and then we can see if we're up against half a dozen people or 40.
That's
Because
right.
as soon as one of them goes to sleep, if it gets discovered, we're discovered.
Yeah. So the other thing is the fly won't last forever, and we might want her to fly immediately back to take the guy out on the bridge. Do you see what I mean? So that you guys can then sleep the two nearest. So I'd think about prepping that, but in the meantime, yeah, she can scope it out. But what I'm saying is you may as well be ready for when she comes back, because if we do, we can only see 3 guards, right, Chris? Sorry to confirm.
With the vision that you've got, and you would have all of you reasonable vision, particularly the elves, you can see definitely one there. You can see
2 at the thing, yeah.
2 at the gate. There might be someone over at this wall, at the back wall. Yes, you can just make out someone on a ladder at the very back wall.
How far away is that?
300 foot or thereabouts.
And how far away is the person on the bridge?
$200 foot, 209 foot. There's another person that you can just see here. Someone you can just make out they're moving a bit. Dressed in black with a sword.
Right. Okay.
And then
So surely the more sensible thing to do here would be for Nicholas to make himself invisible, fly himself in to have a recce, for Nicholas to make Yotto invisible, for him to get close enough to knock out the 2 people he can see, but if he's invisible, possibly he can knock out all 3. And then if it looks likely, we can just put them all to sleep straight away and then go murder the lot of them.
Well, it looks like there's too many to do in one foul swoop, right? So there's a gate there, Chris. Where are the other gates?
you can't see another gate.
No, but do the guides know of another gate?
One gate.
Only way in. Okay. So in other words, I think it seems to. We're not going to knock them all out in one go, are we? We're going to have to just knock the ones out that are closest, and the others are then probably going to see. But if we could get the gate open in the meantime, at least we can make our way in from there, right?
Yep. I mean, that is one way of doing it. Yep.
I guess yes, it would be good to know though how many roughly there are. So, i.e., are there too many for us to handle?
Yep.
So then, how about we do a recce, count up how many we think there are, and then concentrate on this gate here, and then with a view to getting that gate open. So whoever does the fly around invisible lands, flies back around, tells us how many. If the number is good and we think we can handle it, then lands inside the place. You waits to see if you can sleep the guards. And then she, or if it's Tenya, she'll open the gate from the inside once those guards are down. And then at least we're in, right?
Yep.
And if the rest are, if we're alerted, well, so be it. But at least we're inside the palisade, right?
Yep.
What do you think?
Sounds good. So compared to Nicholas's PowerPoint, let Jada cast the invisibility spell.
Okay.
Otherwise, too many things will run out.
Okay. All right. Should we do initial recce then?
Yep. And so to do this, you're going to need an invisible Tanya and a flying Tanya to go in, and an invisible either Yotta or Nicholas to get close enough to knock out the two guards. And there needs to be some mechanism for an invisible flying Tanya to talk to whoever is outside to say, knock him out. Yes.
How long could she fly for?
24 hours. Oh, hang on. That's how long you're invisible for. My apologies. Where's the flying one? God damn it.
Need to get your book, Giles.
Yeah. Although that would take even longer. It's on the lofty bridge, isn't it?
Yes.
1 minute per... Oh, yeah, almost no time at all. It's going to be about 6 minutes.
What level are you?
So I level 8, I think, Nicholas.
So it's 1 minute per level, is that right?
Could be as long as 8 minutes, that's correct.
So that's long enough to fly around the camp. Well, what speed is she going?
75 feet per round, so 5 miles an hour. Not fast.
That should be ample then.
Yeah.
75 feet per round for 8 minutes. That should get around the camp and back.
We're just going to hunker down. Let's make her invisible. Off you go. Come back and tell us what you see.
Okay. So the plan is, Chris, in that time, to go vertically up, do a loop of the camp.
Yes.
At a fair distance, but where she can, high up, so not where people are looking. So she's looking down on them.
Yep.
And then come back, fly to the back of the group and whisper to the person there what she's seen, and then flies back up again, and then we'll choose to land somewhere invisible in the camp.
All right. Cool. I need firstly an invisibility spell, and then a fly spell. Who's casting this, please? Who's casting both?
Jada will cast invisibility.
Cool. Give me a roll. So only fails on a 1 or a 2.
11.
That's a success.
And Nicholas will cast the fly spell.
Okay. Let me in.
13.
I will ask for not a takeoff roll, but just as a heads up, Tanya, I will ask for a landing roll. Landing invisible is hard. Just as a heads up.
She only plans to land inside the camp. She won't land and take off again. She'll just gently go down, whisper, and then take off again.
Yep.
Get
it. But the gently going down when you can't see your own legs is hard.
Yep.
Okay, so that absolutely is determined. It's 75 foot around, and definitely considering that there are 6 minutes in a round, that is ample time to survey the camp. Rather than take you off into your separate chat, Tanya, we've already done enough of that already this session. I'm going to show you what you see, and you relay. Look, frankly, you obviously don't relay this as accurately back to your colleagues as I'm going to relay it to you, but hey, we'll go with it. So we'll go to that view. She comes over the wall. She's kind of up probably about this height. And she sees at this vantage point, so she gets a. Let's take you all the way around the camp, shall we? Because I enjoyed making this map.
Yeah, it's cool.
Sorry, credit. I made some of this map. I put the vegetation up, so whoever actually made the original map, they did a stunning job. There you can see, by the way, these curious two springs. Whether they're the same river or not, you don't know, but these water sources that are coming out of the ground, crystal clear water, and they flow out into what appears to be a small lake or a pond or something. So she flies around. That's the what's the best way to do this? Yeah, do it like this. Yeah, do it like this. Yeah. So in terms of getting a view of the entire palisade, there's the small lake I mentioned, or the small whatever. Yep, 2 soldiers here. They are armed with bows, these two. There's people inside the hut. She doesn't get a glimpse of who they are, at least not at this angle. There's what appears to be another tribesman there. There is another tribesman over here, not armed. There are definitely people inside the hut. She sees movement, and she's seen people certainly inside this hut, 2 or more, but she doesn't know how many. In terms of over here, she sees again more, but you can just make them out just here. There's definitely people inside the hut. She's seen them moving around and talking, and heard them talking. This person here is a woman dressed in black with a sword. There is another soldier with a spear on the bridge. There are, as mentioned, a couple of kids playing in the water's edge. There's another tribesman over here, kind of tending what appears to be tending to the quite a large number of mules that you can see. And then at the very far back, along with some tethered animals, bulls, etc., is another soldier with a spear here. So all told, from what you can make out, Tanya, in terms of your flyby, oh, and there's a small, look at that, there's even a small orange grove there. There's a soldier with a spear here. There's a tribesman here. Another tribesman here. Oh, there, this guy here was also out, appears to be tending the animals. It's the 2 kids there. Tribesman here. Another tribesman here. Woman in black here. Soldier with a spear here. One soldier here with a bow on one side of the gate, and on the other side of the gate, another soldier with a bow. Without a doubt, people in this house, and in this house. You're unsure about this house. This building here appears to be a chicken coop. Hang on, and I'll just give you an aerial. I'll be even more generous and just give you an aerial shot, if that's any more helpful. Distance, just to help you out a little even further, because that's just the kind of GM I am. From where you currently are, it's about 90 foot to the palisade. It's about 120 foot to the gate, to the large building. It's 260 foot to the far wall. It's about 388 foot.
So just to summarize. If you go back to overhead view, actually, that's probably useful. In terms of armed adversaries that she can see, whether they be black people in black or tribesmen, i.e. people with weapons, how many did she see in total?
2 guardsmen beside the gate, 1 guardsman here, an unarmed tribesman here, an unarmed tribesman here, a soldier with a spear here, woman in black here, unarmed tribesman here.
So 4 people in black with weapons, and roughly the same number of tribesmen without weapons.
Correct. Some of the tribesmen. Sorry, that tribesman has a weapon. That tribesman doesn't. That tribesman has a weapon. That one doesn't.
So 6 adversaries with weapons, and an unknown group of people in the central house.
And someone in here too, but who's there you don't know.
Okay.
GM's going to hit
So
blue.
All right.
So we have to be careful about the actual tribesmen themselves, because we don't want to upset them, because then we might get no assistance.
Yeah. Well, I mean, unless they attack us, we won't attack them, right? So, but there's probably 6 there, a few more inside. There could be up to 10. We could assume 10 or 12 people, right? So the question is whether maybe we leave this for next time and do a bit of planning, right? Since it's 5 to 2, but we could go in. We could do a number of things here, right? We could go in at dark, nightfall. We could just go for it.
How does this sound as a plan? So if Nicholas was to go around the back of the camp, then he can get sleep lined up on the one chap at the back of the camp, make Yotto invisible, and he could get close enough to the gate that he should be able to cast sleep on the 2 people up by the gate and the person on the bridge, and possibly even the woman in black, I think, depending on exactly how far away it is. And then essentially all we're left to do is deal with the other people who are there. So if Tanya lands close to the gate, she can then open the gate and let us in. I agree, it would be better to do this under the cover of darkness.
And I suggest, I think the important thing is to get us in rather than risk stalk moves to get close, where they could actually just alert us to that we're here, and then we're in trouble, right? If we can get in, that would be something, wouldn't it, in terms of surprise?
Well, we're going to get in whatever, aren't we? Because Tanya's going to land inside and open the gate.
Yeah, but you need to deal with the 2 soldiers on the priority is the ones by the gate, right?
Correct.
So if you can, she's going to come back and explain what she's seen, and then she's going to. Do we even bother waiting for nightfall? I mean, what's the advantage? I suppose it's easy for you to get close to the gate, but then everyone's going to move around anyway. You don't know where they are, so.
Yeah, no, I mean, we could just go for it. That'd be fine. Chris, just from a mechanics perspective, I mean, if you're going to make us move into a stalk and hide roll, does it matter how many of those rolls would you require, depending on how close we wanted to get? You're talking to yourself, bro.
Didn't move my mic down. In terms of where you are now to where, Giles?
Well, just so I understand, right? I mean, let's say you make me invisible. I mean, even if I wander up to the gate and make a few crunching and cracking noises, it's one pretty switched on guard who's going to figure out what's going on, right? How does it change the requirement to stalk and hide to get close to something? There is a whopping difference between being visible and invisible. I just don't understand it from a mechanics perspective.
Well, it might be metal or something. I think if you got to those 3 trees, though, you'd be within range to take the 2 guards out, wouldn't you?
There is an easier route to go, which is the path that I mentioned, which heads up here. It's certainly flatter and easier terrain to move around. You can see where you guys are up here. Quite rocky. the actual path leading up to the gate is relatively flat. That would certainly be easier terrain to stalk on.
Right, that might be a good view. Then if you were invisible as well, you could go up there and sleep them from there.
Yep.
But that means Tanya's got to land with, and she may well become visible, right? So she's going to have to land where she can't be seen. In
Good
case
luck
she
to that, man.
comes into being. So in terms of...
Next to a chicken coop, maybe?
Yeah, see there's chicken coops on the left there, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the chicken coop there. Now there's a if you see it's got a sort of sidewall bottom left of our view.
Yep.
Yeah, to our left of that. If she landed, the side of the chicken coop, I guess. If she landed right up against the side of that chicken coop, she'd be hidden from the person from the bridge.
Yep.
If she stayed close to the wall, the kids wouldn't see her. She couldn't be seen by the guy tending the oxen behind, possibly. Is he looking her way? Which way is he looking?
Just looking at the this guy here is tending to the oxen. This guy here has now moved over and is tending to the horses.
All right. And there's a bit of shadow there, so if she became visible, could she, in her estimation, hide in the shadow there of the hut?
Yeah, and the daylight, by the way, is a little bit darker than it is. Yeah, possibly. I'm also, speaking of time, guys, it's bang on 2 o'clock. Are we wanting to call it there?
Maybe we could plan this for next time, huh?
Yeah, because we've got
good
couple
idea.
of weeks. So one last, I guess, point is, so there's no option for diplomacy. Like, there's no point sending a couple of pers up to knock. That's not an option.
Well, maybe our guides. Maybe our guides, but yeah, I mean they maybe, but that might just alert them to.
These guys are touring, aren't they?
Mix, yes. So I mean, they won't be pleased. They won't want to let new people in. I don't think.
Nah. Yeah.
And we don't want to. We're not going to negotiate with them. We just want to kill them. So.
Yeah. What about a distraction? You could almost have some rock up to the gate. Meanwhile, from behind. Yeah. I mean, stuff for that planning discussion.
Leave it there for today, guys.
Good idea. Yeah.
Happy plotting.
Cool.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Chris.
You betcha.
Good map. I like that one.
Yeah, me too.
Whoever designed that, the original one, was absolutely stunning. I wish I could take credit for it. As I often do, I amended that. But yeah, tune in next time.
Cool. We'll do.
So I came up with a title for the session, Chris. If you're happy with it.
Yeah, nice one.
Called it a vital lead.
A vital lead. It does technically go to the person who wins it this time.
Oh, right.
But
it's a great title.
Let's run with it. Yeah, well, vital lead. Let's go with it. Who does win? Who does win Sophocles this time?
Ooh, it's quite tricky. There's been quite a lot of planning and organising. Everyone's sort of throwing in their 10 cents. The out of Silvioross.
You got some time. Have a think about it.
Cool.
All
right, guys.
Confirm on WhatsApp and please this time around, Anthony, we will do XP. Every single one of those. Hang on, I'll switch the recording off.